The story begins in the material realm, namely in the main city of the second level, Baiyin. The city was in the form of a fortress and was surrounded by dense forests. The main events of that day took place in the central square of the city, where a white angel named Lakina appeared. Her long golden hair fluttered in the light wind, and her large white wings surprised her with beauty. White armor with gold embroidery is tightly cinched on her slender body. The appearance of Lakina caused a stir among the people who were present in the square at that moment. The young man, who was then present in the crowd, walked towards her with a decisive step. He caught up with her and looked confidently into her eyes. It was not difficult for him. He was the same height as Lakina. A breeze of tension swirled around them, when suddenly the man fell to his knees in front of her with all his strength, delighted that he had met her again. His hands tightly and brazenly grabbed the girl's hips. The man's unceremonious actions did not delight the girl, but quite the opposite. The beautiful face was distorted by a mask of discontent. Lakina's eyes narrowed with intense tension. The long staff that was always in her hands, with a crescent moon at the top and a round blue sphere, sparkled with power. Small blue lightning began to circle around the sphere, making a characteristic frightening sound. This sound brought death with it to everyone who disliked it. A large and powerful lightning suddenly appeared in the center of the square. This lightning struck the impudent young man with its blow, giving him oblivion. Everyone around flinched from his cry of pain. Lakina flew up in anger and majestically watched the agony of her offender. But in this world, death did not bring complete oblivion and emptiness. Death took the young man to a secret base, where he soon woke up. It was a tall domed building with long rectangular windows. A sign materialized in front of the protagonist's eyes, notifying him that he had been killed by a special NPC of Baiyin City, namely the White Angel Lakina. For this reason, special restrictions were applied to him, and his level was reset to 0, returning him to his original state. But the man's face did not show despondency, only a sly smile. This is exactly what he wanted. He completed a unique hidden achievement called Embrace of Angel's Thighs. All these deaths were only for the sake of one reward, a scroll of luck. To obtain the desired scroll, he needed to die 369 times and spent 69 days, 4 hours, and 12 minutes on it, which could not help but impress the average passerby. The hard-won scroll was in his hands, which made him incredibly happy and proud of himself. The man held it tightly in his fist. Opening the scroll, he had a feeling of triumph, because this scroll gave him great opportunities, thanks to which he could change his future destiny. Golden streams of power from the scroll poured into the man. This power lifted his body above the ground. The man reveled in the endless streams of new strength. All his joyful emotions were visible on his face. His triumph danced with each new impulse of power. When the scroll of luck had exhausted itself, giving all possible strength to the young man, the blue display appeared again. It notified that the man had received the hidden unique profession, Emperor of Black Cards. His new talent was the synthesis of black cards. The man sat cross-legged, his face looking very youthful due to his delight and his tongue hanging out. He decided to review the details of his new stats on the panel. After reviewing the details of the characteristics, he chose the Profession Talent button. His new talent was a shock. This was a synthesis of black cards, and for it, he did not need the always necessary recipe. Only 2 cards were needed for synthesis. This was exciting news. He was damn happy about it. After all, now he could create a mutant card and increase his talent level without any effort. It is important to note that in this world of the card game and cards were a great force here. Mastering strong cards could bring the rest of the players to their knees before him. The general rules of this world were very similar to a regular card game. The system called each player a card warrior, and all living beings in this world are just cards. In this world, there were maps of weapons and maps with all kinds of communication means. There are 5 types of cards in the card game. Each of them has a different color and strength. The weakest card is white, after it comes green. In the middle is blue due to the nature of its strength, after purple, and the strongest card is orange. The weakest cards are the easiest for a player to get. There are 2 more special types of cards, black and red. Their peculiarity is that the color does not reflect the strength of the card. Red and black cards can be as cool as orange cards, and they can also be as garbage as white cards. Any card can be improved in two ways. The first way is to strengthen the cards. The second method is the synthesis of two cards. This method requires a special recipe. In its absence, the map improvement procedure fails, which leads to the disappearance of both the map itself and the materials. The main character was unusually proud and pleased with himself, because now he had become the Emperor of Black Cards. Thanks to this ability, he no longer needed any recipes. The man was already dreaming about how he would be able to synthesize a large number of cool cards that would help him during the game. But he didn't have time for that. He spent quite a lot of his time to obtain a hidden mission. The same players as him were already at level 20, while he was at level 0. He wanted to catch up with them as soon as possible. He knew that the game always starts with a white card. Level 0 players could obtain this white card from the goddess statue, which was located in the secret base. The Emperor approached the goddess and, folding his hands in prayer, asked for the best card for himself. The majestic statue of the goddess looked down on him. Blue streams of power swirled, creating a map for the man. A card with a drawing of a white polar bear named Pan Bao fell into his hands. The young man believed that such a frail bear without basic skills was worth nothing. The system offered the player to use a training guide on the secret base. But the hero was confident in his abilities, because even though he was at level 0 after his recent death, he had still been in this world for more than 6 months. The secret base is an exclusive space for every player in this world. There are 5 chips in this base, namely, a storage room, an exchanger, a mission hall, a teleportation portal, and the statue of the goddess itself. The hero stood thoughtfully in the middle of the secret base. To use his newfound talent, he needed to have 2 cards, but at that time, he only had 1 polar bear. He decided to go to the mission hall and take the rookie test. On the board, he found the simplest mission, which involved killing 1 training rooster. The reward for this task was to unlock an exclusive mission, quest missions, challenges, also unlocking the chat system, and 1 random white card. The man chose this test and a portal appeared in front of him, which would take him to the location of the mission. Standing in the middle of the portal, the Emperor activated his card and prepared to carry out the mission. This is the second time he has been moved to the beginner's area. The place was familiar to him, so he felt very confident. A training rooster walked importantly across the stone arena. It was the most ordinary domestic rooster. The man summoned his Panbao to defeat the enemy rooster. P, the big polar bear, defeated the little rooster in a few blows, and without any additional effort, the mission was completed. The man passed the test and received his reward. The chat system, quest mission system, mission collection system, challenge system, as well as the random mission system were unlocked for him. He was also rewarded with a 2-star white card called Midnight Cat Dasik. Now the young man had 2 cards in his hands and could synthesize them. To carry out the synthesis, he only needed 20 MP, and he had them. The power of the 2 cards intertwined in the air above the square. Thanks to his talent, the synthesis of black cards, he did not need a recipe to synthesize these cards. The 1-star card, Polar Bear Panbao, and the 2-star card, Midnight Cat Dasik, were synthesized into an anomalous black card. With his right hand, he confidently caught the newly created card with his fingers. The new card was 2-star black and contained a panda named Panda. The Emperor waved his hand and threw the card at his feet, and clouds of thick smoke appeared around this place. A large fighting panda with a stern muzzle materialized from the clouds of smoke. The man was completely delighted, because by synthesizing 2 random white cards, he received a card with a skill at the level of a green card. The Black Card Emperor was happy and determined to use his new abilities to achieve heights in the game and defeat other players. The hero of the story decided not to delay the implementation of his plans. He returned to the secret base and opened the panel to search for a new mission. He chose a mission with a requirement below level 10 called Defense of Casanar. The essence of this mission is for players to travel to the coastal fishing village of Casanar, where they must fight off an attack by a group of evil fishmen within 100 minutes. The mission is considered over at the moment when the leader of the fish people, Shark Livena, is killed. With his gaming level, the man could only choose difficulty N1. He did not choose for long among a dozen offers, choosing N1, we need a veteran, joining a team of the same players. Upon joining the group chat, the Emperor's black cards were immediately deleted by other players, who, seeing his first level, decided that he was mediocre and would not last in this mission. The man was indignant at such injustice in his direction, but after exhaling courageously, he decided not to argue with other players. Gritting his teeth, he continued to search for a group for the mission. After a couple of minutes of searching, the man decided to choose at random. Having entered the chat, he was greatly surprised because everyone there was of the first level, and although the mission was easy, the man knew that he could not cope with it so easily. Casanar is a small fishing village located in the center of the map, with 3 roads leading to the east, south, and west. At the end of each road near the ocean, there are portals to the Fishmen's attack. During the mission, when the Fishmen are reborn, 3 roads will open, and a detachment of them will be sent in each of these directions every 10 minutes. There will be 9 waves in total. With each new wave, the strength and number of attackers will increase. Bosses will appear on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th waves. On the 3rd wave, the Fishman warrior Lee Jason appears. On the 6th wave, the warrior Sha Sika appears. Knowledgeable players gave them the names Dali, which means big carp, and Ersha, second shark. Accordingly, big carp is Lee Jason, and second shark is Sha Sika. At the last 9th level, the main decisive boss appears, the fishman Sha Liwen, better known as Old Man Sha. This is a large shark with powerful muscles and a high level of vital resources. Only if he dies, the quest is considered completed. 4 players, including the main character, were transported to Casanar. Disagreements immediately arose between them because there was no common plan of action. One of the players under the nickname I Come When I wanted to blame the Emperor for all the work of protecting the southern portal, which our hero was dissatisfied with. The man realized that everyone on his team does not know how to complete missions, and is a noob. He had 2 options. The first was to use his card and complete the level. The second is a simpler option. Take the task from the NPC, rebuild the fortification, and repair the watchtowers. He activated the card with a wave of his hand, unleashing a huge panda. An animal appeared behind the man's back, folding its paws to show its readiness to carry out the orders of its guardian. Meanwhile, the man came to the master to receive a task about building a fortification. Arriving there, he noticed that there were no other players there. The task was to find 200 bricks in the village to block the road from the eastern and western portals. Thus, the fishmen will only be able to pass through the southern road. No one except the Emperor took this task. If the watchtower is successfully repaired, if the archer has not yet died from the paws of the fishmen, then the player can climb the tower, which will improve the strength and range of reflective attacks. The man went on the next mission, where no one from his team was there either. He was met by a young girl named Coco Luo, and if he completed her collecting task, he would receive a magic potion as a prize. The player can give the resulting potion to the Elder, who will then release a green healing aura every minute of the game. This aura will heal 10% of the power of every player and animal in the village. While the main character was building a fortification, the sea became raging, and the teleportation system of the fish people became active. Other players began to gradually kill the newly arrived enemies. 20 minutes later, an announcement appeared about the imminent start of the 3rd wave and the attack of the warrior Lee Jason. Other players began to wish him a quick death, as they believed that he had not killed anyone due to his inaction. The portal was activated and the first fishman boss appeared in the game, Warrior Lee Jason. It was a really big red carp with a cleaver in its paw. The main character opened his eyes wide at what he saw. His hands hung limply for a split second. He was perplexed as to how the first boss immediately appeared in front of him. The army of green fishmen began their attack led by the boss, and the man understood that there were still 30 circles left before the desired fortification. Therefore, he called a panda to his aid so that she would distract the fishmen and give him the necessary time. A fierce battle ensued between the opponents. The panda knocked down dozens of fishmen with one jump. The battle promised to be quick. Knocking out her opponents, the panda at first did not notice how the boss was attacking her from behind. But the panda noticed her new opponent in time and repelled his attack with one blow, knocking Carp down. A few more blows and the enemies were defeated. The 3rd wave was repulsed. The man was happy because of the presence of summoned animals on the battlefield, because thanks to them, the monsters did not pay attention to him, and he could continue his work. But then, his amber eyes widened in surprise. The "I come when I want" player called on the animals to protect him, but was killed. The man's dissatisfaction knew no bounds. As the announcement began to appear again that the remaining 2 players had also dropped out of the game. One player, when dying, left a message for the Emperor of the Black Cards so that he would not waste their time and also leave the mission, which greatly angered the man. Anger flared like fire inside the man. He was determined to complete this mission, regardless of the fact that he was left alone. He began to collect bricks for strengthening many times faster, spurring himself on with anger and taking strength from this emotion. And then the desired moment came when the last brick was placed in the right place. The man wiped the sweat with his hand and exhaled. Now he remained behind to work for the foreman, building a fortification. The master was a young, strong man, so he took a construction spatula in his hands and very quickly finished the work on the strengthening. Work on the construction of the fortification has been completed, but there is still a task ahead with the watchtower. Meanwhile, the panda militantly fought off the attacks of the fishmen, but with each blow, its vital resources decreased, reaching a critical level. Therefore, the man decided to go straight to the pharmacist's mission and increase the panda's HP. He quickly completed the collecting tasks from Kokoluo, receiving a bottle of the desired elixir, and he went to give the potion to the elder. The elder drained the container in several sips, and immediately green streams of power began to develop from him in waves. Elder Bear gained the skill of healing auras. Panda's life reserve, having received strength, soared to its maximum, giving her new strength for battle and making her invincible. The 6th wave of attack began, and a new boss appeared, the second shark, with a new horde of ordinary fishmen. The panda defeated the powerful enemy with quick blows, reducing his vitality to 0. How the blue portal lit up nearby again, signaling the new arrival of enemies. The young man stared intensely at the portal, because he understood that this was the last 9th wave, and this foreshadowed the appearance of the main boss. A gigantic shark grew in front of him. It was several times larger than the man, and frightened him with its power. Killing this enemy kept him one step closer to finishing the task. The panda grappled with the last boss in battle, and the man calmly watched from the side. The shark exceeded the power of the panda's attacks, but even though the panda had little strength, the elder constantly restored its reserve. The panda, picking up the golden trident with her strength restored, struck the shark again and again. The enemy's forces were melting away, since they had no external supply, and the shark began to miss blows. Now she drew a line of defense, not attack, but she still lost. After several repeated blows, the leader of the fishmen was defeated by Panda. The fishmen's attack was repelled, which took 89 minutes and 46 seconds. During the struggle, more than 10,000 fishmen were killed, so the man was given a reward, namely a treasure chest. The man also received the Trident Strike card that belonged to Sha-Sik. The man was happy about such awards and victory in the task. He won this fight only with the help of his strength and perseverance. It's time to return to the mission hall using the portal. At a special base, 3 chests with rewards were already waiting for him, sparkling with the power that was hidden in them. The man stopped in front of them in delight. The man completed the mission and reached the 2nd level. When he opened the chests that stood in front of him, he saw a large number of gold coins and 1 blank card in each. The player stared with admiration at the newly acquired treasures. He hoped that the 3 new cards would be rare and very valuable. He wanted to take everything. At that time, he had 2 skill points that improve his identification skill. He should be able to independently identify white cards. If a man continues to work on his own improvement, he will be able to recognize stronger cards, green and blue. To identify one of the 3 cards, he needed 10 units of magic. He was determined to spend it to develop this card. When developed, it turned out that it was the Black War Bear Luo Bo card, which was already tied to another game. Luo Bo was a melee fighter. The hero did not appreciate the first card, and hoped that the next 2 would be better. The next summon card was Brave Villager Sogol, who was an archer on the watchtower during the quest Defense of Kasanar. The man was happy about this card, regretting that there was only 1. How at that very second, the idea came to him that he could try to combine these 2 cards and see what would come of it. His lips stretched into a sly, anticipatory smile. The synthesis of cards was activated, and as a result, the young man received a new card, namely the card of the Valiant Bear Lobo, which, when completing the quest defense of Casanar, automatically activates the fortification and defensive towers. The hero was delighted because it was the perfect map for the quest. It could also be used in various other quests, and there was no limit on using the card again. It was on this map that copies could be made. The man immediately returned to replaying the quest protecting Casanar. The summoned animal quickly and easily repelled the attacks of the fishmen. Throwing weapons, the beast knocked them out of the game one after another. The Black Card Emperor stood aside from the battle and was content with the picture he saw. He liked the power of the animal's attack, thanks to which it was possible to maintain the defense of the village and at the same time get rich. Summoning the trident that had previously been the property of Shasik, he slowly walked to explore the nearby forests. In the forest outside the village, there are 6 types of items that the player can collect. 6 creatures: mutated fishman, gray jackal, black goat, armored goblin, and swamp slime. But the most desirable and most powerful was the granite golem. For each monster defeated, the player can receive different prizes. Due to the fact that they can only be obtained as part of a quest, some players form teams. The leaders send others to complete the level, while they themselves go to explore the world. The man, due to his level, only had the opportunity to kill fish people, which is what he did during his walk. For killing one of them, he received a fishman's saber for his left hand. It was noted that special items should be given to the craftsman, and a surprise item would be obtained. But the man did not want to buy a pig in a poke, and kept the saber with him. After such a not very pleasant gift, he decided to end his search for an adventure and return back to the village. By the time the young man arrived in the village, the summoned animal was engaged in battle with Old Man Shah, marking the final stage of the quest. The beast struck many blows with varying strengths. With each blow, the shark's vital forces decreased, which led to his complete exhaustion and death. The Emperor of the Black Cards looked triumphantly at the defeated shark, pointing his own golden trident at his corpse. For additional completion of the quest, players were given additional rewards in the form of chests. Coming out of the portal, the hero saw 4 large chests and hurriedly walked towards them. Upon opening the chests, he saw that the rewards were indeed worthwhile. The blue diamond that was inside could be used to improve the base building. The scroll lying nearby is like its own portal and a beautiful decoration on the base. Also in the 4th chest was a card. The man hoped that the Black Bear card would appear from it, and he would have the opportunity to synthesize another Valiant Guardian Bear into his collection. But he was disappointed. It was a mediocre white card, Frog Woo Woo. The man knew that synthesis could only be done with known cards. He wondered what he could do with the new map. The main character decided not to be upset for a long time, and activating the panel under the trading platform, decided to look there for the opportunity to purchase a black bear. By pressing the search button for the required card, his eyes quickly increased in size. His mouth opened in surprise, and he screamed loudly. The price was fabulously high, 99,999. He understood that he would never be able to earn such a large sum. With the hope of finding at least something affordable for him, he decided to take a closer look at the search results. And soon, luck turned its face to our hero. He found a good deal. 10 black bear cards for 666 coins. But the man's happiness was short-lived, because he realized that there were still few coins on his game balance. He only needed 585 coins to buy cards. It seems that he is ready to cry from how close they were to him, and how out of reach they still remained. He tried to bargain with the card seller, but even the bargaining price was too high for him. Therefore, he made a difficult decision for himself, to sell the Trident card. But with confidence and tears in his eyes, he promised himself that at the first opportunity, he would buy himself 2. Having put the card up for sale for 1,888, he received notifications about the sale in a split second. The hero was extremely happy about such a quick deal, and was ready to jump for joy and kiss the panel. With great pride, he took the 10 black bear cards. In his fantasy, such success was signaled by fanfare, and small golden stars appeared. Having received the cards in his hands, he began to make further plans to realize his cherished goal. He wanted to go through the quest again, but with the help of a squad he would create. He wanted others to do all the work for him. With sincere belief in his abilities and encouragement, he called on his powers to synthesize the cards. The power sparkled in blue streams, illuminating the completely dark room. Thanks to the synthesis, the man received a synthesized black card with 1 star, Luobo's Valiant Bear. This card was not similar to the previous Guardian card. With the help of this one, he could create several at once. There was admiration in his eyes. He was already making plans to get rich. The Emperor accepted a new attempt to join the team to realize his goals and complete the quest again, but unsuccessfully. The man's eyes glowed with fire from anger, and his hands clenched into fists. But at one moment, a message appeared before his eyes. One team was looking for a master in dragging bricks for 300 coins. He joined the chat, but even here he had to fight due to his low level. After all, they wanted a 5th level player on the team to handle a fairly large amount of work. Other players wanted to remove him, but he managed to assure them that he was not a newbie. To do this, he only needed to demonstrate his knowledge of the hidden levels and show off his new map. A decision was immediately made to move to Casanar, where a minute later, they met and began the task. In the center of Casanar, an unknown girl blew the instrument, emitting loud humming sounds, like some kind of cry, a call to action. After the end of the sound, the village, as if by magic, began to disappear in parts. All the usual buildings, long streets, and even stones lying on the ground disappeared. The man looked at what was happening with great amazement. Despite his long experience in the game, he had never seen this and did not know about this hidden level. The small, miserable village began to slowly turn into a big city, with large brick buildings and stonework instead of dirt paths. The place began to transform before the eyes of the 4 players. They entered the hidden resolution of the quest to protect the fortress, and accordingly, the location changed. 4 friends were standing in the main square of the renovated Casanar when they received notification of an imminent attack by fishmen. This notice prompted immediate action. The players erected cards that appeared immediately in their hands. Each of them was determined to act. During the simultaneous call of animals, the area was filled with tall plumes of smoke. There was no visibility. But when the wind carried away the smoke, the Black Card Emperor cried out in surprise. He doubted the reality of what his eyes were transmitting to his brain. 2 valiant pandas solo in iron armor and an armored triceratops materialized in the central square. But the most amazing thing was that you could ride these animals. But it didn't take long for our hero to admire what he saw. Another player reminded him that time was running out. The Emperor quickly did his job, completely ignoring the master, and received his fee. He invited others to friend him for possible future work, and immediately received friend request notifications. He approved of them. After that, thanks to his map, which also protected during the fortification of the walls, the Emperor assured others of the possibility of walking around the location. Taking a quick look at the battlefield, he saw that the attack of the fishmen was being repelled by a mechanized warrior. The warrior shocked the man, causing him to open his mouth wide in surprise. The mechanized warrior was abnormally fast and easily fought the fishmen. The man even doubted whether he would defeat everyone on his own and leave something for others. But then the armored triceratops entered the battle, and with one blow he demolished about 6 fishmen, throwing them into the air. Another player struck with fire, and 2 archers on the wall of the fortification covered his back. After a short period of time, a notification came that the fishmen, with renewed vigor, wanted to attack. The man froze in bewilderment. After all, hundreds of shells were flying in the sky above the battle. The man was surprised and asked a rhetorical question about where the fishmen got their guns, because according to the plot, they are afraid of fire. But raising his head up and taking a closer look, he noticed that these fast projectiles were small fishmen. One of them was already flying in the direction of our hero, intending to knock him down and take him out of the game. But at the very last moment, the fishman met with the huge fist of the valiant bear, who repelled the attack on the Emperor. The man was impressed by such strength and speed. Noticing this, another male player ordered the Black Card Emperor to go into the forest for logs, because he understood that the battlefield was very dangerous, and no one wanted to waste energy on protecting the Emperor. Taking 2 valiant bears with him, the Black Card Emperor went to explore the forest. On the way, reasoning that the stealth mode did not affect the strength of the monsters, so you can try to build a fortification in the forest. When a fortification appeared before his eyes, he was delighted, because now he could hunt forest monsters, and it would be more convenient to attack from the fortification. When suddenly a strange sound cutting through the air made the man turn around sharply and narrow his eyes. A small fishman flew towards him. He instantly reacted and tried to run away from the projectile, but unexpectedly, his whole body slammed into an invisible wall. And then an idea appeared in his head. He came up with a plan to kill the granite golem. He immediately put the plan into action, throwing an axe at the golem's head, attracting its attention. The valiant bear hit the golem precisely the first time. Its large size, coupled with iron armor and menacing appearance, were impressive. The emperor of those times stood behind with his hands folded, waiting. Such an attack provoked the golem and barked angrily at the attacker, and bending down, prepared for the future battle. He didn't have to wait long. The golem immediately began to run up to achieve its goal and strike. But suddenly he ran into an invisible barrier. With all his strength, the golem hit this wall with its muzzle. The man, standing on top of the fortification with the bear, was triumphant. His plan worked. As he expected, the quest players could use the trees, but the monsters could not. While the granite golem was hammering into an invisible wall, I couldn't understand why it couldn't reach its victim. The man made plans to attack the golem. He ordered Valiant Bear to kill Granite Golem, but an unpleasant surprise awaited him. The golem easily lifted a huge stone and made a dizzying throw. The stone began to move towards the man, overcoming the invisible protection. The large stone flew to its destination and hovered dangerously above the man. The Black Card Emperor stared at the cobblestone with surprise and fear in his eyes. There was a loud sound. Other players during the battle were surprised by this sound and wondered about its cause. They hoped that the Black Card Emperor did not run into Granite Golem. They believed that with such a difference in strength, the man would not survive and would be defeated by the golem. But he was lucky. The valiant bear steadfastly took the blow and, touching the stone with his bare paws, split it into 2 parts in the air. The man was jubilant. His theory was confirmed. The granite golem could only attack those made of flesh and blood. Since the granite golem had no healing skills, the man decided to simply attack it to the last. The bear, having received the order, attacked the enemy with an axe again and again. Watching the fight closely, the man tensed. The golem's attack damage was low. According to the man's calculations, it will take about 40 minutes to kill him. There might not be enough time. And so it happened. There was not enough time to kill. The quest time has expired. Therefore, the hero decided to try his luck again on his own next time. At the end of the quest, the Black Card Emperor's level increased to 3rd. At the secret base, the player was already waiting for a reward for completing it. When the man appeared there, he saw 3 chests on the chessboard floor. Each chest shimmered with a golden glow and beckoned the player. Thanks to the hidden level, his reward doubled. Rare rewards were hidden in the chests. 2 reward chests contained a night pearl and deep sea gunpowder. The man impatiently touched Blair's gift chest, because it was supposed to contain a hidden level reward. He expected there to be something truly cool about it. Opening it, he saw a mountain of gold coins, 2 new maps, and a certificate that confirmed the passage of the fortress. Taking one of the cards in his hands, the man exhaled in disappointment because there was a Fish People canon of the first issue. Such a map was a surprise for the man. He did not understand where the fishmen even got a cannon and cannonballs. But still, he decided that he could try combining this card with the Consistently God card and see what happens. While the cards were being synthesized, the man was at a loss about the final result. He hoped that either the God canon or the Divine canon would be synthesized. But his wish did not come true. As a result of the synthesis, a black card appeared with 1 star, Follower Fluff Thunderbolt. The man scratched his chin, thoughtfully appraising the map. Although the attack power of the card depended on the fishman, the sight and range were not bad. He decided to test his strength. He opened the game bank board again to buy shells for the cannon. There was only 1 vendor selling little fishmen. That was the Cave King again. Having started a correspondence with him, the man realized that he definitely had the skill of synthesizing cards, and I asked him for 20 cards. Upon reaching level 10, the player can choose one of 3 skills: Ordinary, Special, and Professional. The choice is random. Map creation skill is rarely offered by the system as a choice. The man decided to try to synthesize cards from purchased white cards. Otherwise, after the last synthesis, he was worried about the result. Few of the players could boast of synthesis skills, so the man looked with pride at the process of synthesizing his cards. The blue auras of the cards were aligned with one another. And when new cards were already hanging in front of him, after some thought, he understood the logic of creating cards. He looked at the stupid little rabbit card in his hand. which was the product of the synthesis of careless little snail and short-sighted stupid rabbit. The resulting cards are created from 2 hieroglyphs from each card. After synthesis, the card could become weaker, and if you synthesize cards with 1 star, you will end up with a card with 1 star. So he decided to test his guess on 2 random cards. One was with a drawing of a grey cat, and the second was a red puppy. The man was surprised when he received the Dodge Puppy Black card. Throwing the card at his feet, he summoned the animal that was contained in it. A small red puppy with a white belly and a bell on its collar appeared on the chessboard floor in front of him, and he immediately rushed to the hands of the owner for affection. The man noticed that the baby had a bag for artifacts and could search for treasures. He positively assessed the animal's capabilities and, rising to his feet, called him to search for treasures. They moved towards the granite golem, immediately going on the attack, striking carefully and powerfully. The player quickly defeated the monster. By killing the granite golem, the player received a reward for the mission, namely game points, diamonds, and a certificate of killing the granite golem. The little puppy rushed to the rewards like lightning and took them into his bag. The man was impressed by such speed. After praising the puppy, he opened the bag of artifacts and pulled out a new green card. He held a green card in his hands, and what he saw made him very happy, and he decided to increase his level to the 2nd. The green card turned out to have 6 stars. It was Mountain General Dagong. The man began to kiss the card in admiration. He was as happy as a little child, because the card had good protection and an aura skill. But after a minute, he realized that he could use it at the 5th level. His head immediately dropped, his shoulders slumped. He was lost. After grieving, he pulled himself together and decided to add a star to the cannon follower to improve him. Throwing away the deck of cards with the little fishman, he commanded them to come to his feet. And then he summoned the cannon follower. The Black Card Emperor ordered the cannon follower to use the surrounding fishmen for farming. In the meantime, Valiant Bear will be farming elsewhere. The hero himself went to the village to get equipment. In his hands, he held a small blue-black circle with holes. It was the Mountain Heart. This is an item that he got from the Granite Golem. He decided to hand it over to the Elder. The Elder was grateful to him. He told him that he could use this heart of the Granite Golem on the Clay Golem, and thereby improve its strength by 5%. The man refused this opportunity, but the Elder shared another secret. Before reaching level 5 on a mission, when 4 people defend Kasanar, and when 666 fishmen are killed, you can get a hidden achievement and collect rewards. The player was happy about this secret. For him, the opportunity to get a hidden achievement was unlocked in the game. He left to look through the dialogues of other players to find a new team. The player, I'm Not a Hero, told him about the new game mode, Unlimited Power of Flame, where using cards does not cost mana, and animals are revived after death. But the hero of the story wanted to complete the quest and refused the player the battle for now. The man found a team of new fags unknown to him. He wrote to them in the chat, promising to do the dirty work, and showed his card. Others then agreed, despite the 3rd level of the Emperor. Seconds later, they were already standing at Kasanar, getting to know each other. One man's name was Valkyrie Lin Yun. The Emperor was surprised by such a name. Another man, the strongest bastard, and a woman, let me work a miracle. The woman suggested not to waste time, but to get to work right away. She and the bastard went east and west to block the road. They promised to return after 2 waves and hand over the hard work to them. The Valkyrie and the Emperor were in the forest watching the animals work on strengthening. Valkyrie noted that the work is progressing quickly. The Emperor, who meanwhile was sitting under a tree, rated her a 3. But he noted that the Valkyrie bull warriors fight well against fishmen. His memory told him that this bull was a magician. Valkyrie rubbed the back of his head and admitted that he rarely shows this card to ordinary players, but he decided to reveal the secret to a stronger comrade. He also completed this quest on his own before, and he asked the Emperor to add him as a friend. Then came the announcement of murder statistics, which made the Emperor perk up. He already had 666 kills to his name. He immediately decided to leave for a while, calling his animals back. He told Valkyrie that he would go while he fought with other monsters. The player let him go without any problems, because their work was finished. The Emperor received notification of a hidden mission. He also received the same amount of experience points, gold coins, and a special skill. His level rose to 5. and the special skill was strengthening the little Murloc card. He also received a new card. It was an enhanced white card with 5 stars Fishman Valkyrie. He decided to use it as a projectile, his attack power increasing 5-fold. His idea was to create an army of fishmen and defeat all other players. Returning to the village, he saw that the other players had not yet left the quest. The bastard and Let Me Work a Miracle were not happy that each of them killed 3,000 monsters when the Emperor killed many times less. And only Valkyrie believed that the Black Card Emperor had completed all his tasks, thanks to which they could all easily defend themselves. He raised both palms in a conciliatory gesture. But Let Me Work a Miracle was set for a 2-on-2 duel. To do this, they had to add each other as friends. She wanted to play in the new location Unlimited Power of the Flame, and took on others weakly. The Emperor smiled conciliatorily and agreed. But inside, he was not happy with the situation. He realized that the woman wanted to get points in the arena at his expense. Smiling insidiously, he thought that this would definitely not happen. He was going to show all his power in the arena and teach the arrogant players a lesson. The arena was divided into 5 levels with a specific hierarchy, from high to low: Royal, Diamond, Gold, Silver, and Bronze. There are 2 positions in the Bronze Arena. The first is the Dueling Arena, where battles between players take place. The second is the Saifan Temple, a battle map that features characters from the game itself. Each player can receive arena points if they defeat their opponent, and lose points if you lose. At the beginning of the battle, each player's score is 0. The player can exchange the obtained arena points for exclusive arena cards. When a player reaches a certain number of points, he can receive different rewards for his achievements. The 4 players were in the Bronze Arena, which was impressive in size and resembled a coliseum. The woman offered to bet a few coins. Valkyrie was indignant at this proposal. The bastard offered to have some fun and bet more, 100 coins. And he began to mock other men that they didn't even have this. Valkyrie fell for his trick and was sincerely indignant that in their opinion, he did not have coins in his wallet. He shouted that he was betting 200 coins. The Emperor of the Black Card exhaled resignedly and placed the same. He thought about his partner Valkyrie, that he was very honest and apparently very confident in his victory. Bastard and Let Me Work a Miracle have already begun making plans to quickly defeat their opponents, already mentally dividing the 1 coins and smiling disgustingly. They were sure that their opponents had not yet been to this arena and would lose to them. Valkyrie and the Emperor looked at each other with understanding, holding a map in their hands. Each of them saw in the other an experienced and worthy player. They were not afraid to lose and were resolutely confident of their victory. The opponents had 5 minutes to get to the battlefield. Bastard and Let Me Make a Miracle arrogantly raised their cards, preparing for a quick fight. The battle has begun. Valkyrie ordered the animals not to expend all their strength at once, so that their opponents would not immediately understand how they had blundered. Also, the more rounds of the battle, the more money the winner will receive. The Valkyrie Bull and the Emperor's Valiant Bear easily defended themselves against the wild cats, spiders, and red tadpoles of their opponents. Meanwhile, under protection, other animals built watchtowers for a more advantageous position. When the towers were ready, the Emperor ordered the Valiant Bears, who were there to attack the opponents. The summoned animals of Bastard and Let Me Work a Miracle couldn't even reach the defense line. The animals on the watchtowers immediately threw them back, destroying them. Meanwhile, the opponents did not expect such a surprise. They were surprised and outraged, because they understood that there would definitely not be a quick victory. The number of animals Bastard and Let Me Work a Miracle surrounded Valiant Bear and Bull, making their way to the watchtowers and to the Valkyrie with the Emperor. The Valiant Bear in the defense line has exhausted its vitality. Slowly it evolved in the wind, like a sand statue, returning back to its map. The Black Card Emperor decided to use his new card. His lips stretched into a smile. He still had a trump card in this battle. He summoned the Little Fishman and the Cannon Follower. He released the Valiant Bear to protect them. In the arena around the Emperor and Valkyrie, there were already 9 little fishmen, ready to fight and awaiting orders from their master. Valkyrie was impressed by such capabilities of her new friend. The Cannon Follower grabbed the first fishman he came across and inserted it into the cannon instead of the cannonball, and made the first launch. The little fishman flew into the group of opponents with a fiery core. Making a large fiery explosion, it destroyed most of the animals. Valkyrie, who was watching the unfolding performance from the sidelines, noticed that the range and damage were great. He realized it was a green card. With each new launch, the powers of the follower fluff increased. Reaching a maximum of 100 points, he increased the level of skill. The follower was promoted to 2 stars, and the card was promoted to a black card with 2 stars. Valkyrie cried out in surprise when he realized that he could improve his attack. But, in his opinion, 20 minutes had already passed, and it was time to end the fight. So he activated the liquid armor, surprising his friend. Valkyrie turned out to be far from new to the game. He simply hid his cards for a long time, so his game went slowly. He hoped that the Emperor would cover his back if something happened. After Valkyrie complained that the game had already gone on too long, the Emperor offered him 300 coins if he would go to the field and put on a real show there. The man happily agreed to such a deal. Entering the battlefield, he confidently threw up his cloak with his hands. He promised everyone a performance and that he would act like a confident professional. For his performance, he began running around the field in feigned fear of the opponent's forces, screaming that he would lose if he fought. After running into a wild cat, he was killed, and all his cards were removed from the board. The bastard and Let Me Work a Miracle immediately rejoiced at the small victory. They relaxed as one enemy was killed. Deciding to take advantage of their numerical advantage, they began to attack further. But minutes passed. When another 20 minutes had passed, they realized that the Valkyries were not retreating or attacking. They didn't understand what was happening. Entering the thick of the battle, they calmly and confidently advanced towards the watchtowers, without ever falling under the line of fire or under the paw of some animal. Having overcome their path, the couple froze in amazement. From shock, they didn't even have anything to say. They saw the black card Emperor standing on top of one of the watchtowers, behind the powerful back of the valiant bear. They were outraged that the man was inactive and did not come out to fight them. They started accusing him of cheating. The Emperor of the Black Cards only scratched his head at these disturbances and quietly whispered that they were buzzing like those flies. He decided to tease his opponents, mocking the fact that all their animals were killed and they did not summon new ones. He laughed that such actions were not for the level of the strongest. Enraged by the Emperor's words, the players angrily summoned the animals, intending to tear their ridiculous opponent to pieces. But after 20 minutes, there was not a single animal behind them. Only the wind walked through the arena, entwining them with its currents and carrying dry leaves. Bastard and Let Me Make a Miracle realized they were the losers. Their sour faces clearly demonstrated their thoughts. They were left without money and without victory, but there was no point in fighting further. They were extremely unhappy with this outcome of the battle. The bastard showed his middle finger in anger and promised to meet the Emperor again and kill him. In their place, tubers of gray and black smoke appeared, filling the space of half the arena. When the wind cleared the smoke, the couple was no longer there. They left the gaming arena, defeated. The Black Card Emperor was pleased with the victory, receiving the arena reward of 100 coins. She wrote to him, "Let me work a miracle," asking him to play in the Sifan Temple arena. The hero noted that he had not played there before, and the woman accused him of cowardice. He agreed to a new fight. The Sifan Temple gaming arena differed from the duel arena in that the temple arena has 4 strong temples that players can join. Name of the temples: Temple of Glory, Temple of Valor, Temple of Tranquility, and Temple of the Damned. Each temple had its own weapons and technology. The player could join any temple. If the temple wins, the player also wins. The player, moving towards the center of the map, kills various monsters on his way, thereby opening new locations, and in return receives progress points and temple rewards. On the map, the Black Card Emperor noticed that the woman was trying to follow his actions. He didn't know if she wanted to learn his way of fighting or if he had other plans. He chose the Temple of Tranquility and joined it. The woman, meanwhile, changed hers after his choice. She moved from the Temple of Valor to the Temple of the Damned, placing a bet of 200 coins. These changes caused the man to chuckle. The woman either knew about the relationship between the temples, about their certain restraint on each other, or someone helped her. The woman's 2 assistants, the strongest bastard and the great sage, were meanwhile discussing the chances of winning. The great sage told his subordinate a plan that would lead to victory. He was confident that the Black Card Emperor was a mediocre player and would not become an obstacle to their victory. Meanwhile, the main character was transported to a new location, the peaceful forest. The powerful 100-year-old oak trees of the forest were girded with the green force of life. The man activated his cards and summoned his animals and the cannon follower. A kind of army appeared around him, ordering them to kill all the monsters in this area in order to clear the way for themselves further to a new location. Gradually, the huge wild bears died from the summoned animals, giving up their last breath on Earth. He called upon archers to patrol his hunting lodge. Their main mission is protection from the enemy. The valiant bears at this time built watchtowers for the same purpose of protection. The strongest bastard and the great sage watched the man's actions with mockery. The first one considered him a rat because he again built watchtowers so that his enemies could not pass through. The great sage showed the battle map. On it, there were 5 rings for the main test, the dragon. When playing it, attack was important in order to make progress. He believed that such a noob would not be able to reach the dragon. They called it the 5 roads of the dragon, but in reality, it is the 5 rings of the dragon. The closest to the dragon is first, and the farthest is 5. To pass the 3rd ring, you need a green card. Imagine the strongest bastard's surprise when he noticed that the emperor had already reached the 2nd ring. The black card emperor and his team looked at the forest and tried to remember. He saw something strange in the forest that could be perfect for murder. Then, from a blue flash of light nearby, a new monster arrived. A huge monster was trying to climb the slope towards the watchtowers of the black card emperor. But his attempts were unsuccessful. The slope was too steep and rocky. Under its own weight, it immediately fell back and rolled down to the foot. The Black Card Emperor was pleased with such an advantageous position of the watchtowers and calmly watched the monster's new attempts. He ordered the cannon follower to kill the monster so that it would have increased attack progress to further progress the game. While the cannon follower carried out an attack on the monster, the Emperor began to climb the watchtower. Having already climbed the tower, he received a notification that the tower was ready for use. He hoped that there were monster spawn points nearby that would allow him to track them and unlock new temple technology. At coordinates 124, 1278 electro slimes began to appear, with which Let Me Create Pseudo was already fighting. When killing electro slimes, the player receives +20 to progress and a chest with gold coins. But the man looked through binoculars at one point known to him. He knew that there was a point of objection and was waiting for the rebirth of a new monster. The man received a notification that at coordinates 622, 478 the Rat Capricorn appears. By killing her, the player will unlock the 2nd temple location and will also receive a reward of several cards. The man, standing on the watchtower, ordered the Lord of Cannons to quickly kill the Capricorn rat. The Lord of Cannons immediately carried out the order, firing his peculiar cannonball at the rat. He hit the target. The rat squealed from the fire that scorched its fur, bringing wild pain. The wind carried the smell of burnt skin. Several more volleys that flew one after another hit the rat right in the head. The rat's life resource ended, and it was killed. For this, the player received a green card, Rat Capricorn. The rat's corpse turned into a green card that rose into the air and flew into the hands of its new owner. Thanks to this, the man opened the 2nd temple location with the Flying Blade Warrior. The man released its resident from the new card, and at the bottom of the watchtower, a large Capricorn rat appeared, with red eyes, horns, and an armored tail. He hoped that thanks to Capricorn Rat's data, she would be able to defeat Dragon Turtle, despite his high level of defense. A fight ensued between the Rat Capricorn and the Turtle Dragon. Receiving lightning attacks, the dragon slowly lost strength. He was in a disadvantageous fighting position, because the rat was at the top of a slope that he could not climb. And the man was already dreaming of increasing his strength level, because there were only 400 times left. The strongest bastard began to doubt Dali's victory, but the great sage assured him that she was leading for now. Moreover, he thought that the Black Card Emperor was playing like an idiot, and it was boring to watch. The strongest bastard asked the great sage to take him with him to the Sifan Temple Arena. He asked to try to play this game. The sage did not refuse him. The player received a notification that at coordinates 966, 433, the Firmament Strider appears. By killing her, he will be able to get a random temple technology and a new card of the Firmament Strider. The man took 2 green cards and promised them that these coordinates were close to the base, and he would activate them in the city. A shadow suddenly appeared over his naked body, blocking the sun for the man. He calmly raised his eyes, but he certainly didn't expect why such a shadow appeared. The turtle dragon, hovering over him, raised its left paw with a dull roar and sharply stepped on the man. The man died. In the Sci-Fan Temple Arena, after death, players are reborn 30 seconds later at the starting point of the game. Moreover, with each death, the time for revival increases. The man was reborn near a huge oak tree. The man, after being revived, used drumming to recruit the soldiers he needed to play. Moving clockwise, he waited for an announcement to continue hunting monsters. Having received it, the man ordered his soldiers to attack. The archer shot at the red monster that got in their way. Another warrior cut with blades. By killing the Firmament Strider, the hero unlocked the Fire Halo technology of the Temple of Tranquility. By activating the tower with the Fire Halo, the attack power of all units specializing in ranged attacks is now increased by 25%. The corpse of the Firmament Strider, with a red stream of power, turned into a card that flew to its now owner. Grabbing the card, the man wondered what would come of the synthesis of the Firmament Strider and the Capricorn Rat. He decided to try. As a result of the synthesis of 2 green cards, a black card surrounded by red flame fell into the man's hand. He looked at her with anticipation. He immediately decided to test the new card and activated it with his order. The Capricorn cat grew up in front of him. Her defense was still weak, in the hero's opinion, but the damage from the attack became greater, which made him very happy. The man followed to a new goal, leading 2 warriors behind him and the Capricorn cat, which hung over them like a huge shadow. Let me work a miracle. Meanwhile, I cut the summoned animals in half with a sword, wanting to teach his opponent a lesson for his previous victory over them. The man came to the Temple of the Damned, where the barracks building, Tomb of the Undead, which belonged to his opponent, was located. He ordered them to take possession of this building for him, waving his hand imperiously, calling them to action. His army attacked the building immediately. Each attacked with their own weapons, using fire, cannonballs, and axes. Let me work a miracle. At this time, I was fighting with another monster when I received a notification that the barracks building, Tomb of the Undead, was under attack from the enemy. She was shocked by this course of action, because her opponent organized a sneak attack, which neither she nor her assistants expected. The man destroyed the barracks building, which caused the Temple of the Damned to begin to weaken. The woman could no longer create and train skeleton warriors and necromancers. This ability to recover only after killing 60 monsters. Standing in front of a destroyed building, she decisively called upon her animals to find her enemy's base and destroy it. The man stood in front of the big barbarian bear and rejoiced at his skill, because he had initially strengthened the defense. Activating all his animals, he sent them to attack the barbarian bear. He decided that if he was to fight, he would give it his all. The barbarian bear threw a large piece of wood, resembling a cube, against the defense, and he tried to push it further with his shoulder. But the valiant bear began to repel his attack, holding it with his paws and destroying the cube. A large ball of earth flew towards him, hitting him again and again. The bear roared because it was impossible to answer. With the last of his strength, he destroyed the cube with a roar. The ball made the man tense because it was larger than him. The man was looking at him when suddenly a sound was heard, which notified the movement of the ball. The ball quickly began to gain momentum, rolling along the ground behind the fleeing man. It pursued him inexorably, threatening to crush him with its size. The animals and the cannon follower attacked the ball, but it remained unharmed and continued its course. The Capricorn cat did not have time to dodge the attack of the ball. The ball crushed the animal with a characteristic sound, driving over it, but continued its path after the man. The man tried to activate the card while running, but he did not have enough energy to activate it. Not far away on his way, he noticed a pond with blue, inviting water. The animals continued to try to destroy the ball, which had not changed at all as a result of the attacks. The man, having reached the reservoir, jumped into the water with one high jump. When the man was completely immersed in the water, the ball also jumped into the same place. The bull, due to exposure to a large amount of water, began to disintegrate into pieces, revealing a black bear inside. The man had already managed to get out of the water by that time. The water completely dissolved the bear's armor. Then the man decided it was time to repeat the attack on him. The barbarian bear was killed. The player has unlocked the technology of the Temple of Tranquility Fire Halo. The tower with the Fire Halo was activated, thanks to which the attack power of all ranged attack units increased by 25%. After killing the barbarian bear, the man received his card. It immediately appeared in his hand. He decided to synthesize a new card with the black bear card. considering that two bears together form a good shield. As a result of the synthesis, the despot bear appeared, a huge tank, nothing more. The man performed synthesis again, this time with the fire cat. The fire panda despot appeared. The man again decided that it was the same tank with a poor attack level, so he did the synthesis again. This time the man was happy with the result. He received a blue card. It was the fire panda, the water despot. Blue card with 1 star. The Emperor of the Black Cards gave the order to the valiant bears to return to their base to build a fortification. He wanted to teach his opponent a lesson. Taking with him the fire panda, the water despot, and the follower of cannons, he went into the forest to improve the level of skill in shooting from cannons. Let Me Create reached the Temple of Tranquility, where the valiant bears had built a line of defense from watchtowers, awaiting her arrival. She pointed dozens of her orange cats at them. But thanks to the fact that the man discovered the technology of his temple, the arrows flew at the cats, repelling their attack. The woman wondered how he discovered the technology of the temple so quickly. She stamped her foot in white short boots in anger. The woman ordered her army of undead and necromancers to use all their strength and get to the temple. The undead and necromancers attacked the watchtowers, leaving the valiant bears perplexed. But then the warrior appeared, cutting with his blades everything that came in his way. The archers attacked the attackers, defending their positions, preventing them from getting to the temple. Let me work a miracle. She looked at the watchtowers evilly, loudly swearing at the Emperor of the Black Cards. She made every effort to defeat the Emperor, but it was all to no avail. The undead and necromancers were defeated. An hour later, Let Me Work a Miracle raised the white flag, accepting her defeat. The Emperor of Black Cards received a notification that his opponent had left the game, and he received the victory. As a reward, he received arena points and gold coins. The system used a portal to return him to the secret base. The man smiled contentedly. Let me create a miracle, I wrote to him in the chat. She wanted to play again, only on the condition that they change the mode. But the man did not want to play on her terms. The man removed his negligent rival from his friends, considering her too intrusive. He planned to complete the quest Protect Casanar of the 2nd difficulty level alone. To do this, he decided to synthesize the Fire Panda cards, Water Demon and Savage, because he had not used them yet. The man, taking the Butterfly Razor card with him, went to battle in the forest with the Jackal of Ash. It was a huge brown jackal that howled loudly, scaring everyone who heard the sound. Noticing the Razor Butterfly, he began to run towards his new victim, preparing to attack. The Razor Butterfly, flapping its wings, launched purple-red arc-shaped streams of power towards the Ash Jackal. The Jackal tried to escape these waves, but it was very difficult. The butterfly let them out again and again, completely filling the space with them. The waves cut the victim like a razor. The jackal had no chance to escape. The razors cut him open, leaving only his heart. The player could give this heart to the healer and receive a reward. The man tried to remember that if he gave his heart to the doctor, then he should open him the entrance to the Forest of the Setting Sun quest. Substituting his hand, the man invited the butterfly to fall on her, praising her for her victory and the fact that she remained unharmed. He completed the quest and decided to try the 3rd level quest next time. 3 chests with rewards were floating in the air in front of the man. The man liked their contents. There was also a map of the granite golem inside. He wanted to create Daling later. Valkyrie Lin Yun wrote to him in the chat, inviting him to complete the quest defense of Casanar of the 3rd difficulty level. The man wrote that he had already been defeated there twice. There were 4 of them in the team: Emperor of Black Cards, Meet Me, Runaway, Beyond What Happens, and old acquaintance Valkyrie Lin Yun. Outside of what was happening, he invited the Emperor to join one of his 6 teams. But the man preferred to play alone. Let's meet. Runaway, the man suggested, adding him as a friend. During the conversation, the Black Card Emperor learned that the trio had known each other for a long time. Let's meet. Runaway told him that Lin Yun is responsible for the armor in the game. He is also responsible for horse riding. The Black Card Emperor was responsible for the call, but did not understand what he was responsible for outside of what happened. Outside, Happenings joked that he is in charge of the team's jokes, for which he received a slap on the head from Let's Meet. Runaway. But another man said that he has been playing with a Nightcat deck lately, and his main battle card is Clay Puppet. The Emperor of Black Cards moved closer to Out of Happening, and told him that he had a recipe for strengthening the clay golem, and was willing to sell it for 300 coins. His interlocutor agreed. Outside of what happens, he immediately sold all the cat cards and brought 300 coins to the Emperor for the recipe. His speed surprised all the men. The Black Card Emperor took the coins and said that the heart of the granite golem can be used to strengthen the clay golem. But beyond what happens, answered him in tears that he could not defeat him. The Black Card Emperor joyfully exclaimed that he was able and willing to sell it for 800 coins, showing off these. Out of Happening agreed. Outside, what happens began to improve his card, connecting it with the heart he received. He was the lucky one, which only 5% of the players were, because he got the blue granite golem card. Others were dumbfounded by such luck. The Black Card Emperor whispered to others that the card could only be used from level 9. "Let's meet. Run away," he said to get ready to complete the quest, took his card in his hands, and began to activate it. The man was sitting on an iron-brown bull that amazed with its power and size. Valkyrie Lin Yun summoned liquid armor, throwing a large sword over his shoulder. The Black Card Emperor summoned all his animals and the cannon follower. He thought about creating a detachment of black cards. The men assured him that they would be happy to join him. While the animals were diligently carrying bricks, the men sat on the grass and listened to the Emperor's stories. He said that at any level of Casanar's defense, 10,000 fishmen should be killed. He also said that cutting down trees will help create an invisible barrier that will protect against the golem's attack. While talking, the men did not notice how 50 minutes flew by, and without making any effort at all, they completed the quest. They unlocked the 4th difficulty level of the quest. The 3 men, besides the Black Card Emperor, decided to go kill a couple of monsters to obtain the Casanar Defender card. The Black Card Emperor looked at the 4 chests with rewards that lay on the chest floor. He was thinking about what to synthesize this time. He decided to try to combine the Deep Sea Cannon, Extinction 2, and the Demonic Sky Waterfall. He hoped it would be something like a sea demon or a fire demon. But his hopes were not destined to come true. The man stared in bewilderment at the card he received. With a wave of his hand, he launched a new card into the air, thereby activating it. A huge block of stone materialized from the map and sank to the floor with a crash. There was an undead mage in this block. The man did not appreciate the strength of the attack and speed, despite his spectacular appearance, and decided on a new attempt at synthesis. He picked up the Big Fishman Boar card and the Turtle Prince of the East China Sea card for synthesis. As a result, he received the card Big Turtle, Prince of Waves. He really liked this name. He wondered what would happen if he synthesized a new card with the one he received last time. It was the Fire Turtle, the Fallen Prince. In the process of activating the Fire Turtle, Fallen Prince, a fiery explosion occurred. But this map also did not satisfy the Emperor. He was distracted by a message from his previous team that they were having problems with the Red Card team. The 3 men were about to fight the Red Card team 2-on-2 in the arena. The Black Card Emperor tensely clenched his fists and asked to wait for him. The Red Card team was founded by Patriarch Yue Baiting and was currently the strongest team. Using the portal, the man arrived at the scene. He proposed a 3-on-3 arena with his participation. The Black Card Emperor heard the very familiar voice of a woman who was rejoicing at finally capturing him. In front of them stood old acquaintances, the strongest bastard, Let Me Do a Miracle, and the especially important Great Sage. They wanted their money back. Out of Happening was outraged that they used the disguise and wanted revenge. The Black Card Emperor and the strongest bastard exchanged barbs. They were in the waiting room of the Sifan Temple. The Black Card Emperor said that he and Beyond Happening would quickly solve all the problems with their rivals. A particularly important Great Sage offered to place bets. The 3 of them bet 8,000 coins. Let's Meet, Runaway, and Out of What Happens strongly supported this idea, saying bet 1,000 coins. The Black Card Emperor angrily bet his last 48 coins. The 3 men stared at Valkyrie Lin Yun expectantly, which made him tense up. He awkwardly bet 4 coins, because he had no more money. Valkyrie, like the Emperor of Black Cards, bet his last money. As a result, their total bet was 2,052 coins, and the opponent's bid is 8,000. They moved to the peaceful forest. Outside What Is Happening, he tensely asked the Black Card Emperor how they would fight, because the particularly important Great Sage had a level higher than theirs. The man assured him of their victory. According to his plan, Out of Happening was supposed to open a portal for the small fishmen, then go to the 3rd ring to kill and activate new monsters in accordance with the announcements. The Black Card Emperor figured that he should be in the north now, and he gave the order to run and explore the road so that he could understand where to go. First they explored the east, then the west. He forbade them to beat mobs. The Black Card Emperor himself, having summoned his animals and the cannon follower, was about to go and attack his opponents. He attacked Let Me Work a Miracle. Their animals began to fight among themselves. The battle she saw greatly strained the woman and made her begin to get nervous. The Emperor of the Black Cards summoned the Fire Turtle, the Fallen Prince, which crushed the enemy's animals with its size. The woman, like her animals, was thrown back by the shockwave from the Fire Turtle's landing. The impact of the fall was deafening. Let me work a miracle. A circle of portal formed around her body. Activation of the portal meant the death of the woman. Let me work a miracle. She was perplexed, because it seemed to her that a meteorite had killed her. The woman uncorked a bottle of green potion, angrily plotting revenge. The woman was reborn in the peaceful forest. She wanted to find the Black Card Emperor and look at him. But suddenly, the strongest bastard materialized in front of her, which greatly surprised the woman. The couple stared at each other in bewilderment. The Emperor received a notification that the electric slime had been activated. This confirmed his guess that at such levels, he could already fight on his own. The man said that this place is not far from the dragon's location. He believed that the particularly important Great Sage would rush to this place. He ordered the animals in this round to turn all their attention to him. The Emperor of the Black Cards guessed right. The particularly important Great Sage, together with his summoned samurai and the snail, was fighting the electric slime. Carried away by the battle between his cards and the electric slime, the Great Sage did not notice the attack. A cannon shell flew into his back, exploding in flames. The Great Sage turned around in anger and saw the Black Card Emperor, with the cannon disciple standing behind him. Slowly, gray smoke rose from the cannon. The Great Sage laughed evilly at the Black Card Emperor. He accused him of pretending to be a noob, and meanwhile he defeated his two students and unexpectedly came first. The Emperor only mocked him. The Great Sage accused the player of having a sharp tongue, and calling upon the Black Samurai, launched a quick attack on the Emperor of the Black Cards. The Emperor of Black Cards smiled slyly and picked up a black card. He began to run away from the attackers in an unknown direction. The Great Sage began to tensely guess where the Emperor was leading them. He went to the dragon's spawn point. The sage considered such a move suicide, but continued on his way after him. The brown dragon was amazing in its size. When the Great Sage arrived with the samurai, he was soundly sleeping, loudly emitting carbon dioxide from his large nostrils. The appearance of the Great Sage negatively affected the dragon's sleep. He sharply opened his eyes and roared dully. The dragon slowly and measuredly stood up from the ground, and with a roar, opening his mouth, he formed a clot of energy from the fire, which he directed threateningly at the arriving man. The Great Sage summoned animals from his cards. With a wave of his hand, a green mantis, a brown crocodile, a snail with spikes on its shell, and a snake appeared in front of him. The Great Sage was intensely trying to understand why the red dragon did not attack the Black Card Emperor, although he had appeared earlier. The Black Card Emperor stood behind the Great Sage and grinned. Although the Great Sage had a high level, he clearly did not know about the card with secret information. The red dragon had a hate priority mechanism activated. The activated object, after the player who activated the object, and the player who did not activate the object. The Black Card Emperor asked Valkyrie Lin Yun in a private chat for a double-sided halberd in order to surprise the Great Sage with an unexpected acquisition. The Great Sage angrily twisted his head in the hope of finding his opponent. He didn't understand where the Black Card Emperor had gone and how he managed to do it. Suddenly, the Great Sage heard the voice of the Black Card Emperor, who boldly asked him to turn around. This request made the man nervous. The Emperor of the Black Cards, holding a golden double-sided halberd in his hands, enjoying the moment of triumph, attacked the Great Sage. A blue portal formed near the strongest bastard, and let me work a miracle from which the Great Sage was resurrected. The couple stared at him in surprise, because if he was here, it meant only one thing. He was defeated. The Great Sage was angry that the Emperor had cheated him. He didn't expect that the Red Dragon had such a priority of hatred. He also asked his students why they were not on the battlefield. As it turned out, they didn't have any more mana. The Great Sage himself only had enough mana to resurrect one samurai and summon a snail. He gave up trying to defeat the Red Dragon and the Black Card Emperor. The Great Sage, together with the samurai and the snail, came to meet me, run away, believing that at least he could defeat him. They began to attack, but completely unexpectedly for the Great Sage, a cannonball flew at them, which caused a loud explosion. Behind them, the Black Card Emperor was approaching with all his summoned animals, and the follower of the cannons shot at the enemy. The appearance of the Black Card Emperor greatly infuriated the Great Sage. All the man's emotions were clearly reflected on his face. But the Great Sage was not destined to be indignant for long. The fist of the Black Card Emperor quickly flew into his jaw. Such a maneuver resulted in drops of blood and quick death. The Great Sage materialized again in the circle of the portal, cursing at the feet of his students. Let Me Work a Miracle suggested giving up, and the strongest bastard complained that the red card team couldn't expose themselves as new to the game. The Emperor of Black Cards, and Will Meet You. Runaway received a notification that their opponents had given up and left the game. This news brought joy to the men, and they clapped their hands. The Emperor of the Black Cards received a message from the strongest bastard about whether he would risk betting on who would be the first to complete the 5th level of the quest, Protect Kasanar. The quest, Protect Kasanar, of the 5th difficulty level, had a certain condition. Only players below level 10 could participate in it, but no one had yet passed this level. Currently, Team Red Card, Team Avengers, and Team Duzan are fighting over who will get the first kill in level 5 Defend Kasanar difficulty. The Black Card Emperor decided to participate in this venture. He was confident that his team would win. The men promised to follow his instructions for their common victory. They resolutely entered into the quest. The Black Card Emperor joked that they had to show everyone what deities looked like. Outside of What's Happening, Meet Me, Runaway, and Valkyrie Lin Yun threw up the black card at the same time. 3 clay golems towered in front of them. It turned out that each of the trio had one. The Black Card Emperor appreciated such possibilities. The man threw up a dozen black cards to activate the call. He was responsible in this game for moving the bricks and strengthening the defense. A group of valiant bears appeared from the cards. Outside, What Is Happening was surprised at such a number, and the Emperor smiled contentedly at this. The Emperor of the Black Cards had a fight with the strongest bastard, that whoever of the two of them loses in this game will be considered a brat by everyone. The Emperor ordered Razor Butterfly, Barbarian, and Dodge to go kill the monsters. Dodge was responsible for collecting rewards from monster deaths. He invited the Clay Goblin and Panda with him. Valkyrie Lin Yun told the Emperor that he needed to complete the collection tasks as soon as possible and received agreement from the other party. Valkyrie Lin Yun, Panda, and 3 clay golems successfully attacked the fishmen advancing from everywhere. Outside of What's Happening, he was on the watchtowers and actively supported his comrades. He monitored the situation from above, helping to control the situation. The man's eyes widened. He noticed someone on the horizon, which he immediately informed the other players about. Valkyrie Lin Yun, let's meet. Runaway and the Black Card Emperor, noticing who their friend was talking about, tensed up quite a lot and prepared for the difficult battle that lay ahead of them. A figure was visible on the horizon approaching the players. It was Old Man Shah. It was difficult not to recognize this huge shark. His red eyes burned with rage. The Black Card Emperor ordered his team to follow their previous strategy and not worry. The clay golem made a dizzying throw with a large block of stone. This throw promised everyone 3 seconds of dizziness. Cannonballs flew at Old Man Shah, exploding in his mouth. The fire disoriented the giant shark. The Black Card Emperor ordered the valiant bears to open fire, and they simultaneously launched axes from the watchtowers. The axes flew straight to the target, causing irreparable damage to Old Man Shah. They flew over and over again, just like cannonballs. When the attack stopped, the rumpled angry shark let out a battle cry and ran to its offenders for revenge. Let's meet. Flyaway Valkyrie Lin Yun unanimously ordered their clay golems to make a dizzying throw, in order to disorient Old Man Shah again for a second attack. Old Man Shah suddenly froze in place. Raising his eyes, he noticed how shells and axes were flying at him again. All that could be heard was blows one after another. Boss Shark Old Man Shah's life force was running low. The Black Card Emperor summoned the Fire Turtle for the final act of the battle. The giant Fire Turtle landed squarely on Old Man Shah, crushing him under its weight. The players hugged joyfully because they had completed the Protect Kasanar quest of the 5th difficulty level. This meant that they were the first players in history to accomplish such a feat. They received a notification, which made the men look at each other smugly. A mention of their first playthrough will be recorded on the announcement panel for players in the waiting room. The men had to confirm their names. There were crowds of players in the waiting room, watching others complete the quest. They bet that Red Card's team would win. But their expectations were not destined to come true. After all, the Black Card team was the first to pass, but they decided to hide their real names. The players were given the name He Comes When He Wants. The waiting players were shocked that the Krasnaya Karta team lost, but they were even more shocked when the scoreboard did not display the names of the winning players. One man wished that they would face a card they didn't know how to play and die. The Black Card Emperor rubbed the back of his head with his hand, looking at the new card. Dodge the puppy was spinning at his feet. The man didn't know how to play this card. The wish of one player in the waiting room almost came true. It was a transformation card, and the Black Card Emperor had heard of such a card for the first time. He didn't know what exact function it performed. Black Card Wolf's Coat, transformation with 1 star. When using this card, the player receives the Wolf Fur Coat mod. The man, having studied the instructions for using this card, confidently and calmly threw it into the air to activate it. A wolf fur coat fell into his hands, which he immediately put on. The man appreciated the fur, but it made Dodge tense. When the transformation process ended and the fog cleared from it, 4 wolf paws fell on the chess floor. The Emperor of the Black Cards turned into a huge wolf, which greatly frightened the puppy. He made a reverse transformation. Dodge began to sniff his owner intensely. The Black Card Emperor was delighted with the new card, but still did not understand how the devouring skill and the level of hatred worked. The man turned around in surprise when he received a notification that after completing the Protect Kasanar quest, a new location had opened, the Forest of the Setting Sun. The Forest of the Setting Sun was a mysterious forest where danger and new opportunities coexisted. Ferocious monsters guarded ancient treasures. Only 1 player out of 100 could see the rising sun in this forest after sunset. The man understood for what purpose he needed this wolf fur coat, because in this quest, a royal murder was carried out. While the Black Card Emperor was exploring the forest, the number of players was increasing. 69 out of 100. Royal murder meant killing the Black Card Emperor and seizing the throne. When all the quest slots were filled, the system announced the start of the game. The Emperor of the Black Cards, having received notification of the start of the game, activated the transformation into a wolf. Walking through the forest in the form of a wolf, he noticed that most of the monsters that he encountered on the way did not even try to attack him. He could calmly lie like this in the grass when other quest players passed by. Players did not see his real body. Moving through the forest, the Black Card Emperor spotted a bizarre treasure chest in the tall grass. A large chest was overgrown with blue crystals and beckoned to the man. The wolf's eyes filled with admiration and desire to possess. He thought the chest was incredibly beautiful and did not understand why the equipment and weapons were lying outside. Continuing his quiet observation, the wolf noticed that 2 players had approached the chest. They started arguing about who owned the chest and wanted to start fighting for it. But there was a crash of an unknown nature. The chest opened, revealing its mouth with long and sharp fangs. With one movement, he swallowed the onlookers into himself. All that could be heard was their cries of surprise and despair. After this, the chest was licked with 2 long red tongues. He rejoiced at the 3 successful kills. More was added to the equipment and weapons around him. The Black Card Emperor in the form of a wolf stared at the chest in surprise. He realized that this chest was also a player. It turns out that if he has a wolf fur coat, then some other player could have the treasure chest transformation card. The man came up with a plan to attack the chest. The wolf slowly and quietly approached the treasure chest from behind, while it narrowed its red eyes contentedly. Finding itself at a fairly close distance to the target, the wolf overcame it in one leap and pounced on the victim. The wolf, opening his mouth further, thereby exposing a perfect row of fangs, began to slowly and confidently devour the chest. The chest did not have time to fight back, because it did not expect an attack from the beast. When the chest was already in the wolf's belly, thereby greatly enlarging its belly, the man heard strange sounds inside himself. He looked at himself in surprise. The wolf understood that something was wrong. The following events forced the wolf to cower in fear and whine pitifully. After he consumed the treasure chest, he could still use the cards, and the summoned animals rose in front of the wolf. The wolf started to run away with all his might. Trying to escape from his pursuers, he crawled under a low-lying tree and wondered why he could not use his cards and fight back. The wild cat was able to catch up with the Black Card Emperor, and with a quick swipe of her paw, she hit him hard in the face, causing him to howl. He managed to break away again. The man already understood that he could lose, but did not want to leave a new card in the secret forest. And it was after this thought that a plan of action came to him. The wolf went to a pack of other wolves of different colors and to the green dragon that guarded the throne. The black card emperor wanted to find a beast similar to him. As soon as the green dragon noticed an animal or another player approaching him, he immediately directed a stream of green flame at him. Not a single player survived after this. The black card emperor watched this from the side, studied the circumstances, and carefully thought through his plan of action. He wasn't going to give up anymore. The emperor of the black card's guesses were confirmed when he clearly saw that in the form of a wolf, neither the dragon nor the other wolves that guarded the throne touched him. The wolves digested their prey while the emperor of the black cards quietly and carefully crept between them towards his cherished goal. The transformed wolf lay at the feet of the green dragon when the announcement appeared. It said that the power of the setting sun had appeared, and the player who took the throne in 20 minutes automatically won and received all the rewards of the forest of the setting sun. The emperor, in the form of a wolf, lay down on the grass and waited. He dreamily looked at the night sky, where the full moon appeared from behind a cloud, illuminating everyone in the forest. Other participants in the quest at this time were waging a fierce struggle for ownership of the throne. The wolf noticed how one girl, unnoticed by the other players, turned into a small white rabbit in a matter of seconds. The black card emperor gasped in delight. He was right. Other players also got the opportunity to transform. New cards have appeared in the game. The green dragon burned everyone who tried to get to the throne and take it. The player who was participating in the battle with others began to shout that while they were fighting each other, time was running out and none of them would take the throne. The black card emperor was not happy about the call to fight the monsters. Hidden in the thick bushes, he observed the situation, swearing to himself. In the last 20 seconds, only 3 players out of 100 remained alive. Time was not on the side of the black card emperor. A small white rabbit noticed the notice and jumped out of the nearby bushes. He covered the space separating them from the throne in 3 quick leaps. In the last moments, the rabbit began to celebrate his victory. But his joy did not last long. Without even having time to jump onto the throne, the red wolf grabbed him with his jaws in a jump. He swallowed the hair, thinking that it was the black card emperor, because he had been chasing him for a long time. This red wolf was also the player who received the transformation card. While the red wolf was carried away by his victory, another wolf approached him from behind. This wolf was the black card emperor. Noticing that his opponent was engaged in self-admiration and did not notice anyone around, he grinned contentedly. With one deft movement, the emperor of the black cards, opening his wolf's mouth wide, swallowed his opponent. None of the other players stood in his way to the throne. In the final seconds, he jumped onto the throne and let out a victorious howl. The power of the rising sun was approaching. The black card emperor was the last survivor and received the forest treasures. Large chests were directed into his hall. The man, opening one of the chests, whistled contentedly. All the treasures of the forest went to him alone. He liked the cards that were in the reward chests. He decided to try to synthesize them with Fire Turtle and Panda. As a result of the synthesis, he received a new card called Extinct Pan Panda. To enhance it, a card was required that the player had just received. Having strengthened his new map, the man decided to try again to go through the forest of the setting sun. Without thinking twice, the black card emperor moved to the forest of the setting sun. The man picked up the mystical egg secret card. He wanted to look at this map and understand what it represented. He read that the type of animal that hatches from that egg depends directly on the incubator. He decided to try each animal in turn. The man had a crazy idea. He wondered if the green dragon could hatch if he was the incubator. But his dreams were not destined to come true. The egg knocked him face down. Sprawled on the ground, the black card emperor sighed resignedly. The man decided to synthesize the cards a couple more times. If anything, he planned to go look for the green dragon afterwards, so that it would be an incubator. As a result of the synthesis of the Spriggan Thorn card and the shifting Hydralisk, the player received the Weresnake card. The men were shocked by another transformation card. The black card emperor decided to try to use the new card as bait. Having turned into a wolf again, the black card emperor rolled an egg under the green dragon's barrel with his nose. The dragon slept peacefully and did not notice that he had become an incubator. For the little green dragon to be born, it was necessary to wait 3 minutes. The man decided at this time to try the werewolf snake card. As soon as the man lost his wolf form, wild wolves surrounded him. The black card emperor quickly took out a new card and began to transform into a beauty. The man understood that after the transformation he had become half a monster, and now wild animals would not attack him. But the assumptions of a man in the form of a girl were not destined to come true. As soon as he transformed, the red wolf shot fire at him from its mouth. Fleeing from pursuit and fire, the Emperor of the Black Cards realized that the animals sensed the spirit of the snake in him, and they did not like it. The fire almost caught up with the girl, illuminating her light clothes. But at the last moment, a barrier rose behind her. This barrier was 3 times taller than the Red Power Girl. An unknown guy grabbed the girl by the hand and took her running. He explained that this obstacle was caused by the invincible red card. He turned to the Black Card Emperor and said contentedly that the numbers matched. He believed that the girl was from the Red Card team, so he helped her. The man introduced himself as a member of the Red Card team, Invincible Yu-Wo. He said that he had not met the girl before, and if she needed help in the future, she could call him in the group chat. He also noted that Han Doesn't Believe was also here this time. The Invincible Yu-Wo led the girl to a company that consisted of 6 men. He happily said that he had met a new girl. While greeting, the Emperor of Black Cards noted to himself that being a female player was pretty good. Every man was glad to see her and offered to help. Yu-Wo told the girl to wait a little for the other team players. Han Does Not Believe, according to him, was masquerading as the Red Jackal. The man pointed his finger at the animal and said that they were all responsible for covering it. He asked the girl what card she had. The girl blinked her eyes in embarrassment and said that she had run out of glasses and therefore only had swamp slime. The Invincible Yu-Wo assured her that it was not a big deal and that he would look after her. When the rest of the team arrived, the man went with them on the mission. He made an appointment with the girl at the door of the team's warehouse, and he promised to wait for their meeting. The Black Card Emperor snorted disdainfully. He considered his new acquaintance to be a narrow-minded idiot who hit on every girl he came across. Other quest players attacked the Red Jackal, but to no avail. With every minute of the game, there were fewer and fewer participants. As a result, only Han Does Not Believe remained in the guise of the Red Jackal, and the Emperor of Black Cards in the guise of a girl. The Red Jackal, approaching the throne, roared loudly. He had seen another wolf in the game before, but now he doesn't notice it nearby. Suddenly, a cannonball whizzed through the air, flying straight at the Red Jackal. There was an explosion that killed a large jackal. Standing next to the cannon follower, the Black Card Emperor looked contentedly at his handiwork. Victory was again in his hands. The Emperor, in the guise of a girl, sat on the golden throne. A small green dragon landed on his shoulder. The man decided that since they received an invitation, it was worth bringing the Red Card team. Extending a thin female hand, on which a blue butterfly with letters instead of wings landed, the man noted that only team members could enter the base. But this magnificent messenger butterfly could give him the opportunity to enter. Fortunately, he recently synthesized it. The girl's foot stepped onto the chess floor of the Red Card team base. The man he already knew was delighted to see her. The messenger butterfly hovered near his shoulder. The girl took off her white snake mask before arriving. She argued for the arrival of the messenger butterfly by saying that she was afraid of not finding a new friend. But since she found it, she wanted to take it back, because there was nothing important there. The other men in the room turned around sharply when they heard the woman's voice. They looked at the girl in delight. After all, girls were a rarity in the game. Everyone offered their help to the newbie girl. But then, the conversation stopped. This made the Emperor of Black Cards turn around, because a girl entered the room behind him. With her appearance, there was a feeling of silent admiration among all members of this team. The Black Card Emperor also stared at the new arrival with admiration. She was a very beautiful girl with long pink hair. She approached the Black Card Emperor and offered to unite, calling him Little Sister. At the same time, the girl put her hand on his face and stroked his cheek, which was very embarrassing. The man in the guise of a girl stared at the girl in silent bewilderment. His eyes sparkled with delight, and his cheeks turned red. The Black Card Emperor girl said that her name was Lin Yun. This lie somewhere made the real Valkyrie Lin Yun sneeze at being remembered by someone. The girl who came began to promise the Emperor that as soon as her level increased, but there was no way to know what would happen. After all, the Emperor of Black Cards gently poked his interlocutor in the tummy with a woman's finger, because of which she gasped, interrupting her monologue. The Black Card Emperor languidly suggested continuing their fascinating conversation another time. The girl was surprised by this proposal. She did not understand what was preventing them from communicating now. But the Black Card Emperor assured that there was no time now, and he had urgent matters. The pink-haired girl only smiled knowingly and noticed that her recent interlocutor was a very interesting girl. A man was walking in a wolf fur coat around the forest. He followed the system player Little Red Riding Hood, who, according to the script, was picking mushrooms. The man thought about it. The instructions for the wolf skin stated that you can absorb not only players, but also system players. He was going to test this on Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood smiled at the man and asked if he had heard the legend about the wolf that roams the area. The girl named the man Brave Adventurer. The Emperor of Black Cards, looking around and answering that no one was around, activated the transformation into a wolf. But the little girl was not at all afraid. She immediately turned into the legendary hungry wolf, who rushed back to attack. A fight ensued between the Wolf Emperor of the Black Cards and the Wolf. They kicked each other with their paws. The Black Card Emperor realized that the girl's red cloak was indeed a transformation item. He bit Wolf's big black head. The Wolf Emperor of Black Cards swallowed his opponent, and he sat contentedly on the lawn until the victim began to fuss in his stomach, but this did not last long. The man received a notification that he had killed the legendary wolf and received a hidden mission, increasing his progress by 25%. He also received a green card with 5 stars, Legendary Hungry Wolf. The man received the book The Legend of the Hungry Wolf. If he gives this book to the Yin City Healing Association, he will receive a reward, and he received a hidden mission. He summoned the legendary Wolf and looked at his red cloak thrown over his shoulders. It was the Cloak of Suppression. After his words, the wolf transformed into a little girl. The girl noted that she was now at the service of her master. The Emperor of the Black Cards decided to familiarize himself with the proposed book. He wanted to find possible clues there. The book said that Wolf was a vegetarian whose favorite thing to eat was mushrooms. For this reason, the other wolves expelled him from the pack. He was lucky because he met the kind Little Red Riding Hood. But the ignorant residents of the neighboring village did not know that Wolf was a vegetarian and tried to kill him. Little Red Riding Hood tried to stop them, but they attacked her. Wolf lost his best friend and was furious. He killed all the inhabitants of this village, put on Little Red Riding Hood's cloak, and turned into her. Having finished reading the tale, the Emperor of Black Cards sat down on the floor and rested his chin on his hand. He didn't find any clues. At that moment, he received a letter from Beyond What Happens. He said that he had reached level 10 and was going to choose the card synthesis skill. The Black Card Emperor went to see a friend. The man was lying on a sun lounger near the sea, enjoying the breeze and warm rays of the sun. He still chose the card synthesis skill. Outside, What's Happening said that if you synthesize cards that begin with the word eat, you can get food. He showed his friend a large lobster. The Black Card Emperor noted that this is a good business and that synthesized cards can be sold. The Emperor of Black Cards, while eating lobster, told his friend to try to synthesize cards with the word inventory, hoping that something useful would come out. The man had an idea. The word lobster contains the hieroglyph for dragon. He asked where Out of Happening got these lobsters. Outside. What's Happening? He waved his hand to the beach nearby. There were Kamchatka crabs and lobsters too. The Emperor of the Black Cards summoned the valiant bears, built watchtowers, and attacked the Kamchatka crabs and lobsters. Players passing by were surprised at such a thirst for killing crabs and lobsters. They did not understand why they should build watchtowers for this. When all the crabs and lobsters in the area were defeated, the Black Card Emperor held a large number of newly acquired cards in his hands. He laughed at the bewilderment of the other players. The man began to synthesize the received cards. He came across an alveolar crab. He did not understand what to do with it. Upset by the unsuccessful synthesis, the man decided to give this card to Beyond What Happens. He carried out the synthesis again and again, but each time his attempt was unsuccessful, and the man did not receive anything meaningful. When he only had the last 2 cards left, the man was already exhausted from the number of attempts. He didn't expect that nothing would suit him. There was one last attempt left. His amber eyes widened in surprise, staring at the card he had received. The last attempt was successful. He received the Stegosaurus Swan card. Having activated the card, the player rejoiced. After all, a huge red snake-shaped dragon was flying above him. He was a flying metal monster. The monster had a remote attack, and the Emperor wanted to synthesize the same card to strengthen it. A little later, the Emperor of Black Cards watched the snake that he lowered into the water and could not stop admiring its beauty. The flying monster emitted Phantom Chi and activated Phantom Wave every 3 seconds. The man decided that it would be a sin not to show off such a handsome man to others. He opened the Arena Challenge Mode display. In this mode, the player could show his cards to other players, and they could challenge him. In case of victory, the player received coins, but also increased the power of the card. Meanwhile, the pink-haired girl from the red card team learned that 10 Stegosaurus Swam cards had recently appeared and removed all of their team's cards from the ranking. The surrounding men asked her to return their places in the rankings. The girl agreed to help her team. She bet 5 coins and challenged Stegosaurus Swam. Yue Baiting was transported to the arena, where a flying monster was already towering in front of her. He growled menacingly at her appearance. Such a greeting did not frighten the girl, and she called on her Red Bigfoot Daniel for battle. Red Bigfoot, Daniel jumped high and tried to hit his opponent in the face with his wooden club. But the dragon did not hesitate and launched a sword of Phantom Chi at him. The energy shot through Bigfoot again and again. The dragon's attack speed will increase until it reaches its maximum value. Red Bigfoot swung his baton again to strike, but the dragon performed an aerial unit. Because of this maneuver, the opponent hit the metal body with the club without harming the dragon. Stegosaurus Swam turned his muzzle in flight and, opening his mouth, launched many energy swords at Bigfoot, which were impossible to dodge. Red Bigfoot Daniel, pierced by the energy, could not withstand the attack and died. He turned around the card and returned to the hands of his displeased mistress. The watching men from Team Red Card were surprised that their matriarch was possibly losing. They argued about whether this was such a tactic, and the Black Card Emperor, in the guise of a girl, stood behind them and made fun of them. The matriarch of Team Red Cards released her next card, Plasma Spy, into the arena. It was a large monster that consisted of flames and armor that gave an outline to its ephemeral body. He launched a stream of fire at the dragon. Stegosaurus Swam flew up, hiding from the fire, and responded by launching swords of Phantom Chi at his opponent. A man from the red card team, standing next to the black card Emperor, wondered why their matriarch released such a weak card for battle. After all, the Savage card was not particularly strong either. The Plasma Spy, unable to withstand the attack of the flying monster, returned to its owner in the form of a card. But this did not upset the matriarch. She laughed. The black card Emperor heard her laugh and was very surprised. In his opinion, laughter was inappropriate in such cases. The girl summoned a new card. It was a card with 9 stars, Boiling Blood, the greatest turner evil. It turns out she had an ace up her sleeve all this time. A battle ensued between the monsters in the arena. The dragon launched swords of energy at his opponent, but his opponent had 4 pairs of paws, and he had a saber in each paw. He quickly destroyed the energy. The black card Emperor's face changed when he saw the 3rd card of the matriarch. Although Stegosaurus can fly, its lift height was limited. The man guessed that the girl used those 2 weak cards to get all the data about his Stegosaurus Swama. Boiling Blood. The greatest turner evil quickly moved his hands, creating a stream of energy with his sabers that hit the flying monster's head and pinned it to the ground. As the dragon stood up and began to gather phantom energy, his opponent began to strike him with numerous blows again. Streams of force from many blows knocked the flying monster to the ground of the arena. The girl's 3rd card was stronger than Stegosaurus Swam, and the second one had little chance. The Emperor of Black Card's card returned to him, because the player Yue Baiting won this battle. Her team members cheered when they met her. Their matriarch had won. They shouted that this black card was nothing compared to their team's red card. The men whispered that this was expected of the matriarch of the red team, and that they were not even close to her. The Emperor of the Black Cards only shook his head, considering them to be talkers. Yue Baiting approached the Black Card Emperor, who stood in front of her in the form of a girl. The matriarch noted that the girl did not agree with such statements of the men, and asked if she also had the black card. She offered to play to which the Emperor agreed. The girls moved to the unlimited power of Flame Arena. Yue Baiting joked that you shouldn't give in to her because she looks like a delicate cornflower. The Black Card Emperor mentally called her a corpse lily. The pink-haired girl threw up her cards, starting the battle. She noted that if her opponent feels that she is not strong enough, then all she has to do is say so, and they will stop at any moment. The Emperor, in the form of a girl, threw up the black cards and excitedly remarked that it was unclear who would not have enough strength. Yue Baiting summoned her 3 previous cards, and the Valiant Bear Emperor, Panda, and Cannon Follower. The Cannon Follower launched a cannonball at the Plasma Spy, which served as a kind of trigger to begin the battle. The Black Card Emperor stood at the watchtowers and thought that he should not let the enemy get close to them. The battle line should be as far as possible from them, because this threatens the man with loss. The man came up with the idea that if his shooter levels up before the enemy approaches the watchtowers, then he has a chance to win this round. He ordered the Cannon Follower to shoot at opponents again and again in order to quickly gain the required number of points to raise the power level. After some time, the Cannon Follower improved his skills, and accordingly, his cannon became better, noticeably larger, and more powerful. Taking aim, the Cannon Follower shot at Red Bigfoot Daniel. There was a big explosion. Red Bigfoot Daniel could not withstand such a powerful shot. His vitality dried up. The Black Card Emperor was delighted with this outcome of the battle. He planned to shoot at least one more. The Red Bigfoot card is back in the owner's hands. The Black Card Emperor suddenly noticed that the girl had no mana left. Yue Baiting decided to give one piece of advice to her opponent. She said that although the skills of most summoned beasts are determined automatically, there are cards created through special channels that can be commanded to use other skills. After that, the girl pointed 2 fingers forward, activating some skill, and said that it was the "I'm here mommy" skill. A large yellow fist formed above the Plasma Spy, showing the Black Card Emperor the middle finger. After such an attack from the matriarch of the Red Card team, her opponent ordered the Valiant Bears to open fire with axes. The Cannon Follower became active again and began firing cannon strikes at his opponents. 1 core hit the Plasma Spy. But the 3rd summoned beast of the matriarch remained alive and ran towards the enemy. The Black Card Emperor angrily realized that the girl had the skill of attracting hatred. Yue Baiting joyfully called her Naga and ordered him to attack her little sister, whom she believed to be the Black Card Emperor in the form of a girl. The Black Card Emperor ordered Fire Panda to come to his defense, but the enemy easily defeated the Fire Panda. There were no barriers left between the opponent's summoned animal and the Black Card Emperor. The animal dealt a couple of blows with the saber, and the Emperor of the Black Cards was eliminated from the game. A man was sitting on a sun lounger under a large umbrella on the beach. Palm trees grew nearby, the sea roared, and outside. What happened called on other players to buy lobsters and crabs. The Black Card Emperor looked at the sky with displeasure. The pink-haired girl was truly the matriarch of the Red Card team. The man recalled that when Yue Baiting won, she approached him sitting on the ground. She told him that she felt that the Emperor, in the guise of a girl, was hiding something, and that in the beginning, he was not so shy. The matriarch of the Red Card team bent down and took the girl by the chin. She asked her to remind her of her name again. The man lay in the shadows and was indignant that you should not fall in love with a beauty, because as a result, you will get the fullest from her. Outside What's Happening, I asked my friend what he was thinking about and what kind of beauty he was talking about. Out of What's Happening assured that they had only recently created a team and should not be upset by failures. Also yesterday, a pretty girl traded a lobster with him for some secret scroll. He offered to look at it. The Emperor of Black Cards took the scroll in his hands and, unfolding it, was surprised. This was indeed a secret scroll. Outside What's Happening replied that the girl was no mistake. The scroll said that Lobster Soldier, Elder Turtle, Crown Prince, Dragon Lady, and Dragon King made up the Dragon Palace deck. After the player collects them all, they will guard him from all sides. There was a so-called empty deck, which was created to collect all the cards of a certain group, which connects them. For example, in a deck of 9 Midnighters, as long as at least one of them is alive, the others will not die. The Black Card Emperor thought about it. It's not that these cards have never been seen. These cards have not even been heard of. He wonders if it is possible to synthesize them. The man stood up decisively and told Outside of Happening that he would go to the shore to try to work with the cards. The Black Card Emperor made an ironclad promise to himself that he would definitely synthesize a card that would defeat Yue Beiding. He summoned the valiant bears, built watchtowers, and attacked the lobsters and crabs again. When he already had several stacks of cards, he decided to try to synthesize the lobster soldier. As a result of the synthesis, he received 2 cards, Lobster Soldier Xiao Din and Crab General. The cards had 3 stars. For the rest of the cards, there was no suitable name yet, and he decided to wait a little. He received letters from beyond what happens. A man wrote about being robbed. The Black Card Emperor immediately went to help his comrade. Arriving at the scene, he noticed a large crowd of players surrounding his friend. They argued that Out of Happening should have obtained permission to trade from the Dove team. Outside What's Happening assured that he paid for the stand, to which the men began to destroy his things, shouting that he had to pay for their protection. The man became angry because of this behavior of men. He angrily told them that even if he had money, he would never give it to a bunch of stupid nudists. The leader of Team Dove immediately transformed into his normal appearance. Now he was not in shorts, but in armor. He wanted Out of Happening to risk going into the arena with him, to which he replied that he would not go and that they should not interfere with his earnings. The Dove commander noticed that the man was from the Black Card team, and he joked that he had never heard of such a team. In his opinion, a coward, like Out of Happening, only deserves to be on a team with no achievements. This angered the man, and he agreed to enter the arena. A sword made of illusory chi flew near Dove Commander's hand, causing him to tense up and abruptly let go of Out of Happening. The Black Card Emperor was approaching the group of men, with a flying monster behind him. The man introduced himself as the commander of the Black Card team and asked if there were any problems. A group of tense men stared at him. The leader of the Pigeon team angrily spat out that the Emperor was a show-off. Outside, What is Happening was eager to enter the arena, but his commander decided that he would be the one to go. The commander of the Pigeons team, standing in the arena, surrounded by large black cats, invited the enemy to surrender. According to his plan, he will only take 70% of Out of Happening's income each month. The Black Card Emperor responded by saying that his opponent should surrender and apologize to his little brother, for which he would reluctantly spare him. The commander of the Dove team ordered his cats to attack the commander of the Black Card team. The flying monster, opening its mouth, released energy swords from it, which flew into a flock of cats. The swords pierced the black bodies of the cats, but one cat remained alive and revived her team with her ultrasound. They stood up one after another. The commander of the Pigeon team ordered them to bite the man to death. But unexpectedly for him, a small green dragon appeared near the Black Card Emperor. The newly arrived animal greatly surprised the man. He did not understand where the Emperor of the Black Cards got the dragon from. The Emperor of the Black Cards, hovering in the air thanks to the power of the baby dragon, showed his middle finger to the enemy and asked if he guessed where his baby came from. This move infuriated his opponent more, and he angrily vowed to smash the Black Card Emperor. The Black Card Emperor smugly assured the man that the baby dragon was an angel, and apparently he had never seen anything like them. He was preparing something worse for his opponent. The man decided that there was no longer any need to hide all his trump cards from his annoying opponent. Therefore, the head of the Black Card team took out a card, and fire flowed upward from it, which served as the appearance of the Fire Panda. Fire Panda materialized near a crowd of cats, raised his fiery fist and struck. Only one cat was able to escape from the epicenter of the fire alive. But then the Stegosaurus swam flew to the aid of the Fire Panda, who launched a sword from phantom energy chi at this cat. The leader of the Pigeons team lost. The loss made his shoulders droop, his mood disappeared, and the dove that sat on his shoulder repeated how worthless its owner was. Outside What is Happening proudly admired his commander. After all, now the enemy knew how powerful his commander was. Such flattery pleased the Black Card Emperor. The Emperor of the Black Cards, noticing the dissatisfaction of his defeated opponent, noted that if he still doubts, then he can offer him a new battle. Suddenly, during their argument, the men heard the voice of the matriarch of the Red Card team. The girl thought that the girl she knew, Lin Yun, was the commander of the Black Card team, and she wanted to talk to her. The Black Card Emperor stared at the girl in surprise. He didn't understand how she got there. The man thought that she was even more domineering than the businessmen in Manhwa. Outside Happening asked the girl for what reason she was looking for Lin Yun. The girl asked to call her named sister because she hid after her loss in the arena. Outside of what's happening, therefore, he began to ask why his friend became a girl. But the Black Card Emperor held his shoulder in time and cleared his throat. The Emperor said that he was quite close to Lin Yun, and the matriarch could address him. Yue Beiding was surprised by this proposal. The man standing behind her pointed his finger at the Black Card Emperor and said that he knew him. He called him a pervert who groped the angel's thighs in the main hall. After his words, the man realized that he could not be together with the matriarch now. After all, she thinks that he is pestering Lin Yun. Now he is too spoiled in Yue Beiding's eyes. The matriarch of the red card was indignant at such depravity of the emperor and said that she was now obliged to save her little sister. She summoned the bloodshed dragon. From her red card, a large dragon appeared with red lightning, which had 4 eyes, powerful horns, and wings. The Black Card Emperor pulled out his card in response and told Outside Happening not to be a coward, but to go find someone to help. Beyond Happening agreed and said that he would have to ask Lin Yun how it was possible to provoke this crazy woman. This crazy woman shouted furiously that she wanted to save her little sister Lin Yun from the clutches of the Black Card Emperor. The bloodshed dragon flew towards the man like an arrow to attack. But unexpectedly for him, the fire panda blocked his way, holding him with one paw. Noticing this, Yue Beiding ordered her dragon to take off and continue her attack. Once the dragon was in the air, the man decided it was time to use the sledgehammer of retribution. Fire Panda hit the ground hard with her fist, and a column of powerful energy rose from it and pierced the dragon. The dragon calmly hovered further after the attack. The man decided that the bloodshed dragon could most likely reduce vitality and increase attack power. The man did not know any other reasons for the girl's calmness. The bloodshed dragon opened its mouth wide and began to gather fiery energy. This skill was called Dragon Breath. He spewed out a large amount of fire, which made the man recoil from the fire panda. Behind him, the Emperor of Black Cards heard the voice of the commander of the pigeon team he had recently defeated. The newcomer wanted to help the matriarch of the red card team kill a man whom he also considered a pervert. The Black Card Emperor turned around and angrily remarked that this was the most convenient moment for this man to take revenge. The fire panda sheltered its owner from an attack by a pack of wild cats, but they still almost got to him when he wanted to call on more animals to help. The salvation for the Emperor of Black Cards was a large golden elephant, which sheltered him from the attack of cats. The elephant's rider shouted that no one should try to touch his master. What he saw plunged the emperor into great shock. He sat on an elephant, "Meet me, run away," and rejoiced at how he arrived in time. The Black Card Emperor was surprised that his friend called him master, to which he noted that it sounded very cool. The Black Card team leader pointed to the Dove team leader and told his comrade that he was leaving it to him, and the man himself went to meet Yue Beiding. The man jumped on his flying monster and ordered it to fly to the kiosks on the coast, where Out of Happening had previously been with his synthesized goods. Yue Beiding decided that the man was trying to escape from her, which she was not ready to accept. She mounted her dragon and ordered him to fly in pursuit. The bloodshed dragon released many red lightning bolts from its mouth, blood heavenly nets. But the Black Card Emperor's flying monster easily dodged the attack by maneuvering its flexible body in the blue sky. The matriarch of Team Red Card once again pointed her summoned beast towards its victim, and it released Dragon Breath. The dragon's breath reached the Black Card Emperor and his beast, severely frying them. Because of this, the flying monster fell to the ground with a roar. The girl stood in front of the Black Card Emperor. She ordered him that once he gave up, he should never go near Lin Yun again. The flying monster returned to the map in the hands of its master. The players stood on the beach near the water. The man assured the girl that this time, if she did not leave here, it would definitely not be him who would have to give up. The Black Card Emperor activated the card in his hands. The resulting flash blinded the girl for a moment, causing her eyes to squint. She was very surprised by what her opponent called. The man summoned a large iron prop cart. The girl was staring at her. She was sure that he would summon some powerful beast. To which the commander of the Black Card team just laughed, grabbed his cart, and ran quickly to the water. He shouted that the girl should not underestimate his prop cart. Yue Beiding looked at the running man doubtfully. The girl thought that he was not only a pervert, but also an idiot. The bloodshed dragon flew after the man, activating its powers. The Black Card Emperor only had a couple of meters left to reach the water. How the girl ordered her summoned beast to use the bloody heavenly nets. There was a big explosion. The place where the man was burst into flames. But the Emperor of Black Cards does not give up so easily. He miraculously jumped out of the clouds of smoke with the cart. With a wave of his hand, he released another black card into the air to activate it. The girl was surprised to notice that the man could run on the sea. Meanwhile, Fire Panda was on the cart, which activated her forces to strike. The dragon that was floating in the air from above fell under the power of the Sword of Retribution, which pierced right through it. After such a blow, the dragon lost its vitality, and its huge carcass fell into the water, causing strong waves and a loud splash. The man continued his race through the water. He thought happily that the synthesized cart was really easy to control, but to his regret, it could not be flown. The man believed that this time he would win. The bloodshed dragon emerged from the column of water in front of the man. The revived beast came as an unpleasant surprise to the Black Card Emperor. The girl, standing on the back of her beast, shouted angrily that she had not yet lost. She activated the seal with her hand and ordered the dragon to launch hellfire at the man. Emperor stared at the dragon in bewilderment, since he had just killed it. How surprised he was by what he saw of the resurrection. The flame that the dragon started did not go out. It did not go out, even though it was on the water. The man decided to fight on the sea to protect himself from the girl's boiling blood and plasma spy, but he didn't expect that the bloodshed dragon could create such fire. The prop cart overturned due to strong waves, causing the man to fall into the water. While drowning, he noticed that the dragon's flame burned not only on the water, but also in the water. He had to hurry and get out of there, or he would die. The man emerged and hid behind his cart, and began to formulate a plan of action. He could use Stegotomoro and the cannon to attack in the air, but he needed a cart for the cannon, and the flying monster wouldn't last long. The dragon began to shoot fire at his defense. The man still didn't know what to do. He could summon the real Lin Yun, and explain that this was one big misunderstanding. The man, thanks to the map, looked at where the real Lin Yun was. His friend was fighting in the arena with an unknown player. Valkyrie Lin Yun, cutting his opponent's club, defeated him and won this fight. The Emperor of Black Cards nervously asked his friend why he was not hiding. Valkyrie told him that sometimes it is necessary to make sacrifices. If he hides, wouldn't that mean he lost? The matriarch of Team Red Card towered over the cart and waited for her opponent to appear. She said contemptuously that he was still a coward. A force burst out from the bottom of the cart and materialized into the flying red monster Black Card Emperor. The Stegosaurus launched its swords at the girl. The bloodshed dragon, defending its mistress, responded by throwing a ball of hellfire at the enemy's flying monster. The Stegosaurus could not withstand such an attack, and returned to its master. A small green dragon was flying near the man's shoulder, and a waterspout was swirling on his other side. The Black Card Emperor boldly asked if the girl liked to play with fire. His eyes burned with the fire of determination and thirst for victory. He came up with a plan. The tornado headed towards the dragon. The bloodshed dragon could not cope with the water element. The girl tensely noted that the Stegosaurus attack was just a diversionary maneuver by the Black Card Emperor. The wind that rose due to the waterspout pulled the dragon and its rider into its epicenter of origin. When the dragon was inside the tornado, he saw that underneath it was Fire Panda on a prop cart, and she had activated the Sword of Vengeance. The dragon, injured by the clutches of the Fire Panda, tried to escape from the scene to heal its wounds. The man rather asked a rhetorical question about whether the boss of the Red Card team wanted to play catch-up with him. The Emperor of Black Cards summoned the Lord of Cannons, who was placed on a prop cart and fired a powerful shot. The girl, hearing a loud sound behind her, turned around sharply, opening her eyes in fear. A large fiery mushroom appeared on the water from the explosion. The other players who were watching the battle on the beach saw the explosion and wondered if it had killed Yue Beiding. The girl was the boss of level 35. They truly considered the Black Card Emperor to be a dark horse. The Black Card Emperor, surrounded by his summoned beasts, walked proudly along the beach. Pride was understandable, because he killed the Warrior of Glory of the Silver City, and the girl was also an honorary Viscount of the Golden City, and a VIP person of the City of Yellow Diamond. The Black Card Emperor smiled smugly at Yue Beiding having so many high titles. He didn't expect there to be so many of them. The man was enjoying his success. He was able to kill a higher-ranked player. In some cities in this world, killing another character is considered criminal behavior. For this, the criminal can receive the status of a red name. This player will be wanted in the city in which he committed the crime. If the ransom is not paid, the player will be imprisoned for 24 hours. The Black Card Emperor decided that he definitely shouldn't appear in the 3 cities now, so he continued to explore the area near the beach. The man was worried about the situation of Outside the Happening, and that swift one. The man wrote to Outside of Happening and said that he was given the status of a red name. His comrade said that Swift-Footed killed the boss of Team Pigeons, but he is in prison instead. The Emperor promised to rescue him when his status disappeared. Sending a messenger butterfly, the man remembered how much the ransom for the player in prison was. The ransom was 10,000 coins. The Black Card Emperor wanted to visit his friend later and console him. The man was determined to reach the Dragon King's palace and began to synthesize maps. But after some time he knelt on the sand in front of the cards and said goodbye to the palace. He synthesized the lobster map over and over again. He didn't like just duplicated names. He cried that such repetition made him sick. It was important to the man that his card names were cool. The Emperor of the Black Cards decided that what had been done could not be undone, and it was worth working with what he already had. So he tried his luck again and carried out the synthesis. The man held the new card tightly with both hands and stared at it with wide eyes. Luck turned to face him. It was the Turtle Dragon Earth Prince card. The Emperor of the Black Cards could not believe his luck, because he had synthesized a map of 9 stars. This unknown beast could hide in its shell during imminent danger and easily endure an enemy attack. He wondered if he didn't just end up with a dragon with a tortoise shell. There were different bloodlines of dragons. They obtained their skills in different ways, so only a certain kind of dragon flame has the skill through feeding on blood. A small dragon flew near the man's right shoulder, and he thought that the new map was not bad after all. He already had the wind dragon, so he could just give it the blood of the newly acquired dragon. A sign appeared above the man with a regional announcement. The power of the deep sea has been restored. The terrifying devil was freed from the Valkyrie's shackles. Other players received a general announcement. It said that the bloody reef tower in the Forbidden Sea was anyone still able to stop the invasion of another dimension. This announcement got everyone excited. Player Invincible has discovered the reef tower. This meant that the first chapter of the Deep Sea Devil world-class boss storyline would soon open. A new announcement warned that players from another dimension would soon appear. Players should venture into the Forbidden Sea and explore it on their own. The Emperor of the Black Cards did not understand what kind of new players and a new plot appeared. The Black Card Emperor took a deep breath and released his flying monster. The man wanted to quickly increase his strength because the seas there were deeper than he expected. The flying monster, at the behest of its owner, attacked nearby lobsters and crabs. His illusory chi swords cut through one by one, turning each one into a card. Thanks to this, the Black Card Emperor raised his level to level 20. Now he could get a new skill. He just needed to approach the statue of the card goddess to activate the skill. The man materialized in front of the goddess statue. He increased his skill level and could now synthesize 4 cards at a time. If he successfully unlocked the Conquest skill, he could receive a random card of 6 stars, Sapphire Snowman. Next, a personal task and +1 skill will probably open up for him. He could unlock the Team Creation feature and the Live feature. He needed to choose. But the goddess was not on his side. He did not receive a single professional skill to choose from. He became hysterical, hugging the statue. Having gathered his strength, the Emperor of Black Cards chose the 3rd available skill from the list. It was Card Dart. Other skills seemed completely useless to him. The first level Card Dart had an attack range of 10 meters. The player could use 1 card at a time. They dealt physical damage that depended on the color of the card. The man found it interesting. The Black Card Emperor went to the arena to test how his newly acquired skill worked. He asked the arena to turn on the man-machine mode. The man reasoned, holding a map ready. The instructions for the skill stated that the white card does 50 damage, the green card 500, the blue card 5,000, but the purple card 50,000. The Black Card Emperor threw the purple card directly at the wooden post, and crashing into a tree, the card actually caused the specified damage to the target, as much as 50,000. The man was happy with the new skill. It was quite easy to use, and when encountered, the player could easily kill his opponents. Suddenly, he received a message from Beyond Happening that Team Du-yan was looking for him. A friend said that apparently the head of this team got lost. All members of the Black Card team stood behind their leader, who was sitting on a chair opposite an unfamiliar man. There was also a strange girl who stood near the outside of What Is Happening. The stranger said that their leader disappeared while exploring the reef tower. His last message was an order. The order was for his team to contact the Black Card Emperor and his team. The Emperor of the Black Cards raised his hand, stopping the man's story, and said that he was also interested in exploring the reef tower, but the stranger did not let him finish. A player from the other team handed over a bag of coins and said that they were ready to offer them a good reward, and their ship was ready to sail. The Black Card Emperor still had doubts. The idea was dangerous and dubious. But then the man showed several orange cards, also as an offered reward, and the Black Card team was captivated by this. The Black Card Emperor firmly said that he needed a week to increase his strength, and then they could leave. They agreed on these words. The stranger left satisfied from the hut where the transaction was taking place. The Black Card team happily waved back and looked forward to their reward. The team leader turned around and saw an unfamiliar girl and stared at his comrades with a question. Outside, What's Happening said that the girl was just an amateur in the game. Her name was Beauty Builder. She had been helping them a lot lately and they invited her to join the team. He just wanted to take her with him. The girl assured that she was not very strong in combat, but very good in transportation. Valkyrie Lin Yun noticed that thanks to her, the nearby city had improved transportation by 1,000%. The Black Card Emperor, hearing his comrade's words, hurriedly took both of the girl's hands in his and assured her that she was now a member of the really black family. But the girl noticed that there was no need for introductions. She knew about his victory over Yue Baiting. It was a good PR company and what the name of their team was. The man tensely noticed that Black Card and Emperor are still not bad names. Outside What Happened supported him in this, placing an encouraging hand on his shoulder. The Emperor of the Black Cards, standing in front of his team, said that next week, when it was time to sail, Beauty the Builder and Out of Happenings would remain on land, and Valkyrie Lin Yun and Swiftfoot would go with him to the reef tower. The players saw a large, luxurious airship. It belonged to Team Du-yan. The new acquaintance asked the Black Card team to follow him on board. The Black Card Emperor, like the other two men on his team, stared in surprise at the airship and noticed that this vehicle cost at least 100,000 coins. Suddenly, two strangers blocked the men's way. The new acquaintance of the Black Card team, Hao Qi, protested this in surprise. The men who stopped them wondered why they needed players from someone else's team on the ship. At this moment, a middle-aged man descended from the airship. It was Expert Du-yan. The man had a straight back and military bearing. Hao Qi introduced the man to the Black Card Emperor. It was Team Du-jan's seventh elder, Du-jan's expert. The man said that he brought the Black Card Emperor and his comrades as outside help on the orders of the head. But Expert Du-yan began to mock the Black Card Emperor. He believed that a man was always playing the fool. His joke caused laughter among the men, who prevented the crew from boarding the airship. The Emperor of the Black Cards, without unnecessary insults or showdowns, asked if they needed to return the money that they had already been paid and leave. Expert Du-yan, who did not expect such pride and determination, tensed but assured them that it was not necessary. Then the Black Card Emperor turned around abruptly and said goodbye to the men. He did not tolerate ridicule from other players. Hao Qi tried to stop him, but he was powerless in this situation. He is just a subordinate. Expert Du-yan tensely told Hao Qi that it was okay, that the Black Card Emperor had left. He felt that it would be strange to admit that the worthy Du-yan team needed the help of these three men of the Black Card team. The man noticed that he and Yue Baiting had always been good friends, and if Hao Qi had not been nearby, he would have killed these three immediately. Hao Qi tensely noticed through his teeth that sneaks have no future. Expert Du-yan pointed to the approaching airship and noted that the Red Card team was already here, and they would definitely avenge their leader, and it was better for them not to interfere. The men from the Black Card team were also going to explore the reef tower. In his opinion, the subordinate completed his mission, but the man, looking at the calm surface of the water, expressed doubts that the Black Card team would be able to reach the reef tower. After all, men did not even have a means of transportation on water, and they faced dangers that not many can endure. Other players simply did not know the character of the black card team members. Meanwhile, on a fake cart, they moved through the water towards their cherished goal. Valkyrie noted that it would be easier on the airship. The Emperor of the Black Cards proudly noted that he was not used to their showing off. The man believed that they could handle it themselves, and then all the rewards would go to them. Swift-footed slyly noted that they seemed to have no intention of sharing with anyone. Rushing along the surface of the water, the three men noticed that a large serpentine shadow had grown behind them. The Black Card Emperor stared at the shadow tensely. The men's hearts beat faster. They noticed that it was a giant orange snake. They didn't know what it was. The animal began to lean towards the prop cart. The men could not swim away from him. Swift-footed noticed that the animal had a rider. The Black Card Emperor stared at the serpent with a mixture of surprise and interest. A man stood on the head of the animal. The trio realized that this was not a monster after all. It was a summoning card. The stranger said that he was Lone Moon from the Red Card team, and he had heard that the men were quite good at sea battles. He came to them for advice. The commander of the Black Card team gave the newly arrived man the middle finger in response. He shouted that just let Lonely Moon speak and he would hit him, for which he would not be ashamed, and said goodbye. He moved closer to Valkyrie Lin Yun and told him to quickly get out of here. The man believed that this Red Card team player had come to take revenge on them for killing his boss. Valkyrie asked his friends to hold on tight. The man used all his strength to speed up the cart, using nitrous acceleration. Fleet-footed was frightened by such a crazy speed of the cart. The Red Card team player angrily ordered them to stop running away. He shouted that he would take the life of the Black Card Emperor. He ordered his Turtle Minister to attack. The Black Card Emperor began to think, remembering who the Turtle Minister was. When the men saw who they were talking about, they looked at each other and realized that they would not be able to escape and would have to fight. The Minister Turtle was two identical turtles that spewed energy streams from their mouths. Valkyrie Lin Yun noted in a panic that naval battles were not his forte. His comrades had to figure it out on their own. The Black Card Emperor said that the attack would be on him, and asked the other men not to interfere. Swiftfoot, who already had a map ready, agreed. Swiftfoot summoned Shiny Griffin and Firmament Strider. Sitting on their back, he flew into the air away from enemy attacks. The Black Card Emperor shot purple cards at his opponent. He ordered dominance on sea, land, and air, using chi energy for cards. Purple cards, reaching their target, dealt corresponding damage to it. The man from the Red Card team did not understand why his animal was losing vitality so quickly. He had a thought that the Black Card Emperor's turtles were striking a double blow. The man looked in horror at the actions of his opponent. He just shouted, "Groundwater." The summoned beasts of the Black Card Emperor relentlessly attacked their opponents, spinning them into a whirlpool. Valkyrie Lin Yun assumed that their enemy would still try to get out of the water, but his captain already had a plan for this case. Suddenly, the snake overturned the iron cart. The men went underwater. The Black Card Emperor took more air into his lungs and held his breath so that death would not come immediately and he would have time to get out. At the same time, the man closed his eyes tightly. Due to the dark waters and closed eyes, the man did not notice the creeping snake. When he opened his eyes, she had already opened her mouth to devour her prey. The man was frozen by the impending danger for a moment. But having quickly made a decision, he forcefully emerged from the water, the mouth of a snake with huge poisonous fangs following him. The man in the air shot 4 purple cards straight into the animal's throat. The snake could not withstand such an attack. The player, floating on the water, began to call his friend. Swift-footed, on one of his griffins, noticed his captain and flew up to him. The griffin grabbed the man in his paws and lifted him into the air. The golden wings of the beast shimmered in the bright sun. The griffin deftly placed his burden on the prop cart. The Black Card Emperor noted that the wind had picked up and that the sea snake was having trouble diving and rising. Swift-footed, having released his beast, landed on the cart with his friends. They nodded to each other, and Valkyrie Lin Yun again used her strength and accelerated the movement of the cart, hiding from the enemy. The man from the Red Card team was standing on the head of his sea snake, clenching his fists in anger. He lost this battle. He failed to obtain the Black Card Emperor. The man believed that he was lucky again. The trio of men sailed on the sea and were glad that they managed to leave the scene alive. Valkyrie Lin Yun looked forward and noticed that something unknown had appeared in front of them. It was a huge gray monster with a golden trident in his hand. Swift-footed suggested that his comrades take a detour. He believed that the monster would attack everyone, and he didn't want to repeat the Crystal City massacre. The Black Card Emperor believed that this monster was very similar to a fishman, and could have the skills of a fishman 666. Valkyrie Lin Yun noted that those who do not take risks do not drink champagne and need to move forward. The Black Card Emperor supported him. The men received notification that they had discovered the neutral waters of Poseidon's creature, and also launched a particularly successful mission walking in the footsteps of Poseidon. They had a chance to find a secret treasure in the endless sea. So the men followed the Grey Giant. Valkyrie Lin Yun remarked that since it was a neutral creature, it should not attack them. Suddenly, large tentacles wrapped around the creature's leg. The red-yellow octopus began to climb onto the giant and try to strangle him. The water around began to boil from the fight between these two creatures. The giant could not cope with the octopus. The Emperor of the Black Cards noticed that on top of the octopus's head, there was a person, namely an octopus head. The captain of the Black Card team became angry that someone prevented them from reaching their goal. He was surprised that players could now apparently change their appearance. The Emperor of the Black Cards wondered why the octopus head needed to attack Poseidon. Also, an unknown player released wild fish with sharp teeth at Poseidon. The latter tried to fight and move on to his destination despite the obstacles. The octopus head turned sharply and looked with his strange eyes at the three men who were on a prop cart nearby. The men realized that they had been noticed, and this did not bode well for them. Their enemy came down to them on the water. The octopus waved his hand and ordered his piranhas to attack the men from the Black Card team. The dangerous fish immediately carried out their master's orders and headed towards their victims.